What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Join my Discord if you want to chat and share your thoughts, the link is in the description. 6 Chapter 140, Auto-generated chapter title, 140. Shanks arrives. Give me a face, let's stop here. Now, on one of the many boats bound for Marin, the man standing on the bow is Shanks. He is here to stop this fight. There are many Marlins, and they are getting closer and closer. The skies suddenly turned into daylight. This strange phenomenon instantly puzzled Shanks. Ben Beckman, what the hell is going on? Why is it suddenly bright? Ben Beckman sat on the bow of the ship and thought for a moment, but did not come up with any answer. There is too little information for me to analyze. This is the first time I have seen you in this situation. Shanks also knew that Ben Beckman was a little embarrassed. With the information they have now, it is actually impossible to analyze why the sky is brighter. But, this is not the question to think about now. The main thing now is, stop the fight as soon as possible. First hope that Marine can give himself a face, 750. Let this battle end here, otherwise, the whole world will really be out of balance. The balance of 4 emperors Marine has been around for a long time. The collapse of any party's balance is a catastrophe of destruction for this world. This world can never be without pirates. The existence of 4 emperors is actually a stabilizer for the entire new world. If there is no 4 emperors, then, those ambitious pirates will become even more crazy in order to compete for this position. Become more unscrupulous. No matter how powerful Marine is, it is impossible to cover the entire new world. The existence of the 4 emperors is exactly different from what most people think. To a certain extent, they have maintained stability in disguise. Let these unscrupulous and ambitious pirates dare not act rashly, because they are afraid of the power of the 4 emperors. There are a few ambitious ones who will challenge the 4 emperors, but they are only killed. Shanks believes that Marine must also understand this truth. Sengoku is so smart, it's impossible not to understand. If the 4 emperors are really eliminated, it will be harmless to Marine. What's more, if the 4 emperors are gone, why will the world government continue to raise Marine? Sengoku could not know the subtle truth of this. This is one of the reasons why Shanks is sure to persuade the fight to stop. And the main reason is, it's because if Whitebeard is killed, then there is only 4 emperors left. It is only a matter of time before the distance is killed. The balance of the sea must not be broken. Their 4 emperors must have enough power to contend with Marine. Advertisement: if there is only 4 emperors left, there is no threat to Marine at all. This is why Shanks must come to stop this battle. Usopp put down the telescope and said, "Boss Shanks, Marineford is in front of him. It seems Ron is confronting Whitebeard." Shanks' face changed. "That's great, we are not late. Quick, speed it up, you must stop it," and on Marijoa's many roads leading to Marlene. 5 elders in Uranus were coming by boat. They didn't know that Ron caused the night to change to day. This time, I also came to investigate under the order of Lord I Am. And at the moment, many in Marin. The angry Whitebeard couldn't care too much. He decided to die with this island. Ron's strength has interrupted any hope of escape. Then bring more Marines to the funeral. However, just when Whitebeard was about to make a full blow, suddenly, a man's voice came from the coast. Wait a moment. This sudden sound directly attracted the eyes of Whitebeard and Ron. Ron frowned. I laughed suddenly. He was still thinking before, how to deal with the remaining 0.2%. Never expected. Someone took the initiative to send it to the door. How did you forget this person? This is a person with the ability to be fruitful of dignity. Sengoku was also shocked. He didn't expect another 4 emperors to come. This day is really lively. He couldn't even see the 4 emperors, and 4 of them directly popped out today. The whole Marine has become accustomed to it. I felt terrible when I saw 4 emperors before. But after a day of baptism today, they discovered that the 4 emperors are actually nothing special. You can see them all in one day. It turned out to be Shanks? What is this guy doing here? Garp frowned. Strange things will always happen in this world. Before the change, Garp didn't expect that all 4 emperors would gather in one day. But anyway, after today, the pattern of the entire world will change drastically. Advertisement: maybe it will change in a direction they never expected. Sengoku shook his head and said, this guy Shanks is not easy to deal with. He has always been in contact with 5 elders of the world government. Among all the 4 emperors, he is the most special existence. This time, it's certainly not a good thing to come here. Whitebeard is about to exert his strength. At the moment, he was also dumbfounded. There are only less than 10 minutes left in his life. The top priority now is to destroy the entire Marineford. Unexpectedly, this critical moment, someone interrupted unexpectedly. What the hell is Shanks in his heart? But some people are very happy. That's Diamond George and the Phoenix Marco. Shanks would never stand on Marine's side no matter what. Its arrival undoubtedly added another powerful force to the forces of the pirates. So, in everyone's eyes, 4 emperors Shanks Hockey appeared. Change the previous funny image. Bring all the cadres under him. It was in front of Ron and Whitebeard in an instant. All the cadres behind him stood in a row. The momentum of the 4 emperors is fully revealed. Shanks first glanced at Luffy, who had fainted. Both the pirate and Marine suffered heavy losses. He didn't see the process of this battle, but you can also imagine how intense it is. Even the 3 Admiral, Sengoku and Garp have been seriously injured. This surprised him. The whole audience was shocked. The most important thing now is to stop Ron and Whitebeard from continuing to fight. Give me a face, there is no need to continue fighting. All eyes are on the red-haired Shanks. 8 more, today end. If anyone else wants to continue fighting, then we red-hair pirates will stay with us to the end. Shanks at the moment. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. But, let this battle end here, said as he walked. So slowly walked towards Ron and Whitebeard. I'm here to end this battle. With a big wave, he directly drew out the famous knife griffin. Because of the arrival of Red Hair Fragrance 5.2x. Without anger and prestige, hockey is incomparable. More hockey, more hockey. Chapter 141, auto-generated chapter title. 141. Give you face, give you a big mouth, handsome, seeking subscription? Shanks hockey appears. Directly change the situation on the battlefield. Attract everyone's attention to Shanks. Those words of incomparable hockey. It really shocked both Marine and the pirate. It is estimated that only 4 emperors like Shanks can say such hockey's words. Give me a face. What a hockey this is. In the entire ocean, how many people are qualified to say this sentence? Especially in front of the Whitebeard Pirates and Marine. This is for both Marine and the Whitebeard Pirates to give him face. Worthy of being the youngest 4 emperors, this courage. It's really too rare. All the pirates on the scene looked at the red-haired Shanks, all with admiration. This is the pirate, it's really worth it to be a pirate. Came to Marine headquarters, in front of everyone, and said to give me a face. This is simply the pinnacle of the pirate's life. These pirates all looked at Shanks with longing eyes. Marco said excitedly. This man is still like hockey, it seems that this battle is likely to be terminated by him. Mason George nodded. I hope, Sengoku will give Shanks a face. Only the 14 Demon King Ivankov had a bad expression at the moment. He didn't want this battle to end like this is the only chance. If you miss it, there is no way to kill Ron. Although the current hope is very slim, there is always hope. Maybe Ron did the same as Whitebeard, is relying on squeezing vitality. In order to summon the sun and obtain this power. And Ivankov is very clear, Whitebeard's body was about to collapse. This is the price of gaining this power, and this Ron? It is impossible for him to summon the sun directly for no reason. This must be a painful price, it's probably life. It was even replaced by squeezing the remaining life like Whitebeard. So, Ron's state is limited, there is still a chance to kill Ron. But this redhead Shanks suddenly came out to disrupt the situation and it was very annoying. But he is 4 emperors after all, and he needs to give some face to him. Advertisement now that he has spoken. I am afraid that both Marine and Whitebeard will really give him face. Even Sengoku saw this scene, can't help but feel comfortable. What happened? Why do you want to give him face so suddenly? Can't control myself, can't wait to give him a face. Sengoku couldn't help but shook his head, no now I can't give orders. Ron has taken over the battle, Ron had the final say. Sengoku understands this very well, almost current Marine soldiers have listened to Ron very much. If I say to save face and stop fighting at this time, I am afraid that these Marine soldiers will also be dissatisfied. Unless it was Ron who spoke to Shanks himself, these Marine soldiers can be convinced. If not, no one says it works, I don't know what Ron this guy thinks. Sengoku looked at Ron, only found that Ron looked at Shanks and looked very happy? How is this going? Ron Admiral, who has always been expressionless and very calm, suddenly showed such an expression. This is really weird, right? This is not in line with Ron's character. Actually at this moment, Ron is talking to the system. The system checks how much Shanks can bring to the template progress. If host kills Shanks now, it can bring a 2% increase. If host kills Whitebeard and then kills Shanks, it can bring a 0.19% increase. Because the increase of the progress bar becomes more difficult as it goes backwards. Ron's progress bar is now 90.6%, so if Shanks is killed now, it will directly bring about a 2% increase. This is already a lot. After all, after 90% of the progress bar, it's hard to increase anymore. Shanks deserves to be 4 emperors and can bring 2%, which means that he is already very powerful. And if Ron kills Whitebeard first, the current template progress will reach 99.8%. Already approaching 100, it is even more difficult to think about growth. Killing Shanks at this time only gains 0.19%, obviously, the latter is very inappropriate. If you kill Whitebeard and then Shanks, the template progress will add up to 99.99%. The last 0.01% is left. If you want to increase it, it is very difficult. As long as it is a brain, a normal person should know how to choose. Advertisement Shanks must be killed first, he must not be allowed to die behind Whitebeard. Otherwise, Ron wants to expand 100% of the template progress and summons the next template, but he doesn't know how to wait until the year of the monkey. That's why Ron suddenly laughed when he looked at Shanks. This guy came too in time, it's raining Shanks in time. Ron suddenly changed direction, facing Whitebeard, but turned his head to look at Shanks. This surprised Whitebeard. I thought, is this kid really planning to give Shanks a face? No way, I really can't see that Ron is such a talkative person. Could it be that Ron's ability to summon the sun is also flawed? There are also great side effects, so he can't wait to end this battle, right? If something goes wrong, there must be a demon, so Whitebeard immediately made an association. Perhaps Ron's way of becoming stronger is the same as his own, which requires squeezing his vitality. 750 That's why he will go down the steps of Shanks. Sengoku saw Ron's move, it was also a bit unexpected. But he also understood. After all, the purpose of executing Ace has been overfulfilled. Because this person has already launched the 2-4 Emperors. After all, Kaido and the Ant died because of this. So, what Marine wants to achieve is enough. If the battle is ended now, it will also reduce some casualties. Now that Ron has decided so, Sengoku also expressed understanding. After all, it must be too greedy to chew. You can't be so ambitious that you can kill 4 dead kings in one day. It was a surprise to be able to kill 2. Even Shanks could not help but feel a little relieved when he saw Ron turning his head to look at him. It seems that my face is still very useful. This guy named Ron is also ready to give himself a face. Give me a face, however, what everyone did not expect was. At this time, Ron opened his mouth directly and slapped Shanks. Give you face? Give you a big mouth? Hey, a loud bang? The audience was dumbfounded. Chapter 142, Auto-generated chapter title. 142. Who is used to you? Come to the Marine site to pretend to be forced, seeking subscription. Ben Beckman. This Ron walked over to our boss to give our boss a face. Fat Chef. No one can save the boss, not even the sea. Usopp. Yes, even celestial dragons have to give the boss a face. All the members of the Shanks pirate group actually guessed what Ron was going to do when they saw Ron walking towards Shanks. After all, friendly discussions between the two parties need to be face to face. It seems that Marine Admiral is ready to give Shanks boss face. However, they guessed what Ron was going to do, but they didn't fully guess. Ron did come here to give Shanks something, but it was definitely not a face, but a slap. It was in the eyes of Whitebeard Newgate, in Sengoku's expression of astonishment. Among the unbelievable among all the pirates on the scene. Ron walked up to Shanks and slapped Shanks in the face. Slap, there was a loud noise. The dignified 4 emperors were beaten in the face, physical face slap. No one thought of this, but a normal person would not think about this. That's 4 emperors. Just such a firm slap slapped the 4 emperors on the face. This. Sengoku fell in love. Garp was blinded. Marine 3 Admiral opened his mouth and forgot to close it for a while. Marco regretted it. Whitebeard's eyes were almost staring. Usopp was dumbfounded. Ben Beckman's jaw is dislocated. The entire Shanks pirate group, at this moment, all have an expression of eating shit. They didn't even dream of it. Your boss will be used a mouthful? What's the matter with him? And the most hated one is Shanks. Lousy asked you to give me face. I didn't ask you to give me a mouthful. Didn't he slap Lousy in the face in public? Slap Lousy in the face in public in various senses. Shanks was really beaten up for a while. The whole brain is in a momentary blank. He really couldn't accept this fact. My own face, but unsatisfactory after all attempts. Wherever he goes, everyone is giving him face. Even when going to the world government, 5 elders and talking to him, they must give him face. Moreover, Sengoku must give him face. If it wasn't Ron here just now, Shanks believes that he is here. As long as this sentence is put here, Sengoku must give himself face. Advertisement. But there is only one person, he doesn't play cards according to the routine. Not only does not give face, in turn, he gave himself a mouthful. Shanks didn't even know what he should say. What can be done to restore the current embarrassing situation? Shanks no longer has the ability to think. The opponent is really not playing cards according to the routine. I completely regretted myself. The whole Marlin was numerous and silent. The shock that this brings to everyone is even stronger than the picture of Whitebeard cutting a knife without injury. Those who come out are all face-defying people, hit people but not face. Not to mention, on this occasion, Ron Admiral really did not play cards according to the routine. It's weirdly quiet, even Marco felt ashamed for Shanks. What is going on with this feeling of wanting to laugh but not daring to laugh? It was quite quiet for a long time. There was thunderous applause and calls from the whole Marine. This is so cool, this feeling. All the Marine soldiers seem to be released, depressed. Why do you, a pirate, come over and say to give you face? I will give you face. How old are you? How much face do you have? We have worked so hard to die so many people. You ran over and said to give you face and end this battle? So many of us are not dead in vain. It's okay for you. After the battle is light and breezy, come over and pretend to be forced, saying that it will give you a face, and then the battle will be ended. Then let's fight for a long time for nothing. Mad, this is Marine's territory. You ran to Marine's side to save face? Have you forgotten that you were a pirate? What's wrong with 4 emperors? What more 4 emperors? Why the 4 emperors said to give face? We Marine have to give face to face. Now, all the Marine soldiers finally let out a sigh. The suffocation that was suppressed in my heart was finally released in an instant. Ron Admiral's slap is really good, directly played all the aura of Marine. Let these Marine soldiers finally stand up, no longer be angry with these pirates. Obviously he is the army and the opponent is the thief. Also give face to a thief. What kind of system is this? What kind of rule is this? Advertisement. I won't give it today, so what can I do? Although Ron Admiral slapped Shanks, but for all the Marine soldiers present. Just slap Shanks with their hands, it's the same feeling. Sengoku looked at the cheering marine soldiers, can't help but feel sighed. Ron's prestige rose again. I am afraid that I have already surpassed myself. I don't know if this is good or bad, Shanks at the moment. Finally raised his head slowly, has eased from the brain gap. After all, this was the first time he was slapped. It is normal to be blindfolded for a while, now. He has calmed down. There is only one idea in my mind. That is to kill Ron. Damn it, also pull a fart stand. Originally, his purpose of coming here was to prevent Whitebeard from fighting with Marine. But now he has completely changed this idea. Ron was too much. Don't give him face in front of so many people. Is it tolerable or unbearable? The original intention of coming here has long been forgotten by him. Shanks now has only one idea. This man must be killed. At the same time, Shanks also understood why the ant would travel so far to kill Ron. At this moment, I personally experienced Ron Chi, Zhao Li's, human level. Shanks also understood the ant. He now feels the same as his ant. Ron must be killed. The four emperors have tempers. In such a large public occasion, everyone's eyes caught a mouth. This is even worse than being poured a can of beer from the head of the bandit king in Windmill Village more than 10 years ago. Shanks doesn't even care that Ron is playing against Whitebeard now. Directly drew out the famous knife griffin in his hand. Then stared at Ron coldly. Ron, are you sure you want to face four emperors at the same time? Ron couldn't even control his laughter, he is too willing to know. This is simply double happiness. If the template progress reaches 100, it will be the two of you. Two more chapter 143, auto-generated chapter title, 143. Hard work, you ran all the way to die, red-haired death, in seconds. This guy even laughed. This makes Shanks angry, this didn't put myself in the eyes at all. Damn it. Not only did he slap himself in the face, he even laughed. No matter how good Shanks' temper was, he couldn't bear it at this moment. At the moment Griffin drew the famous knife, Conqueror's Haki came in immediately. With the same power as the substance, it instantly shattered the surrounding bricks. This kind of power is really terrifying, it can even cause physical damage when it is released outside. A person who can become the Emperor of the Sea, which one is ordinary goods? Captain. Ben Beckman frowned when he saw this scene. As Red Hair Pirates, the captain was insulted, which is equivalent to them being insulted. So any decision the captain makes, they will stand behind and support. Even if you start a war, in short, no one is allowed to insult the captain's face. Suddenly, the senior cadres of the red-haired Shanks pirate group immediately appeared behind Shanks and stood in a row. Even everyone drew out their weapons, ready to fight. As long as their boss is the first to attack, they will immediately follow. No one can insult Red Hair Pirates, who dared to cross this red line. Will receive collective revenge from Shanks' 753 Red Hair Pirates. Even Admiral is no exception. This was another confrontation after the entire battlefield ruled Whitebeard. Sengoku's old face went black, when Ron gave Shanks a mouthful. He knew that there was no way to be kind, has reached the point of endless death. This time, Marine really faced 4 Admiral in one day. It can be said that it singled out all the power of the entire sea merchant. Before this, Sengoku couldn't even think about it. At this moment, Sengoku even recalled that the cause of this whole thing was that he had borrowed an admiral from the army. Who could think of it at that time? It's just a secondment of combat power. The result will be a huge change in the entire world. Advertisement. This is outrageous. Just imagine, if you didn't ask Ron to come over to help. Maybe nothing happened in the whole sea now. It seems that sometimes an inadvertent move may really bring about a huge change in the world. And if you push forward, the reason for all this is that Blackbeard handed ace to Marine. BEFC, it's a pity that the initiator is Blackbeard. It's already cold and can't be cold anymore. It is estimated that there are no ashes. For people like the Whitebeard Pirates, if Shanks can make a move, it is indeed able to share a lot of pressure on my father. If you don't know for sure, you can still have a chance if you find the right time. Although they don't know where this opportunity is. But Ron can't always be so strong in this state. Could it be that the sun in the sky can really hang all day? After the real daybreak, another sun will always appear. It is impossible for 2 suns to appear in the sky at the same time. In other words, Ron's summoning of this sun will definitely not last long. This is also the opinion of most people present, at this time. Whitebeard said in a deep voice, Shanks kid, are you trying to intervene in my battle? Shanks didn't even turn his head, concentrate on. He stared at Ron tightly. Now I dare not make any intentions, and there is no time to return to Whitebeard's words. Since Ron can kill Auntie and Kaido, it means that he is still very good. He also saw the daytime battle with the ant, in his estimation. Ron at that time should be about 20 to 30% better than the ant. It's not that I can't beat it, Shanks frowned. Haki was released all over his body. In this battle, he must do his best, now he is fully prepared. He was waiting for an opportunity to attack, however, at this moment. Shanks just felt a red and yellow light flashing before his eyes. Almost in an instant, Shanks felt a huge penetrating wound in his chest. Advertisement Holy Gun, Ace Kano. Ron stretched out a finger and then slowly retracted it. And at the moment, Shanks only felt cold in his chest. The position of the heart there has been penetrated. How can this be? How could it be so fast? Shanks counts, but he forgot to count. That is, Ron now is not at the same level as Ron at noon. At that time, it was 60% of the template progress, but now it has reached 90.6%. Strength soared. Now he is dealing with 4 emperors, but he doesn't have to struggle so much anymore. If the strength at the moment dealt with the ant, it would be just a trick. Just like the red-haired Shanks now, serve this. Shanks' eyes widened, and he spouted a mouthful of blood. Unbelievable in his eyes. Have not had time to speak. With a bang, he fell on his back to the ground. For an instant, the audience was in an uproar. Everyone present, this is the first time they have seen Ron kill the 4 emperors. Auntie saw it in the video that time. They heard about the killing of Kaido, and they didn't see it with their own eyes. But the redhead Shanks fell in front of him. This is what they saw with their own eyes. So horrible. How is this different from killing an ordinary pirate? Is this still the majestic 4 emperors who have always wanted face? Is this the 4 emperors that easily smashed the surrounding buildings with Conqueror's Haki? Sengoku. This is even more exaggerated than the legend. Garp. This guy is much better than when he played against Kaido. Marine 3 Admiral. You can only feel this horror by seeing it with your own eyes. Ben Beckman. Shanks. How is this possible? Ron can't be so strong as a result of my intelligence. Phoenix Marco. I thought Shanks could share some of the pressure for Dad, but I didn't expect that he even had the qualifications to share the pressure. Whitebeard. Did the 4 emperors die 3? It's hard to imagine this. It was made by the same person on the same day. Ron just wiped the blood from his hands lightly. When receiving the progress value for killing Shanks, he said with satisfaction. It's really hard for you to run all the way to die. All members of Whitebeard Pirates. Chapter 144, Auto-generated chapter title. 144. Ron turns into a nuclear bomb from the sun, exploding hot temperatures and clearing the battlefield. The system, inquire about the progress of the current template. Open black lens bracket hosts current progress of the Crime of Pride template is 92.6%. Ron nodded very satisfied. How much is the increase in killing Whitebeard with the current template progress? Ron still asked uneasy. After all, when the template progress is 90.6%, the reward for killing Whitebeard in the current template progress is 92.6%, the reward for killing Whitebeard is definitely different. Because the farther he goes, the reward he gets will shrink. Currently, the template progress increased by killing Whitebeard is 8%, close black lens bracket. It really shrank. It should have been able to reach 9.6% before. But this is not important, plus this 8% can still reach minus 100%. It will even exceed some. System, will the killing of the remaining pirates increase? Host's current template progress, killing pirates below 3 billion will no longer increase the template progress. After testing, there were no pirates who met this condition except Whitebeard. In other words, now apart from Whitebeard, no pirate can increase his progress value. That's it, it's enough to kill Whitebeard anyway. Let all the 4 emperors fall today. Ron thought of this. The application was directly transferred and refaced to Whitebeard. Whitebeard was relieved from the surprise just now. He couldn't believe it till now. Ron, the increase in the sun has reached such a terrifying situation. Killed Shanks with 1 blow. This is far beyond Whitebeard's estimate. Avenged Shanks' boss. Finally accepted the death of the captain. These men are crazy. Whether it is Ron's opponent or not. He started attacking Ron. There was a smell. The first thing that flew over was that Jesus couldn't get a bullet. This bullet is specially made. The material used is sea stone. If you are capable, as long as you hit the first serve, you will basically declare a loss. And this bullet has a very subtle angle, shot at Ron's face. I can't help myself. The boss was killed by himself, and these guys still had the guts. Ron didn't hide. The bullet ignited directly when it touched his face. There was even a white-blue flame, with a sound of flavor. Advertisement: the bullet first turned red, then turned directly to ashes. Damn it. This guy is really not capable. However, Usopp's attack was just a feint. And in the other direction, the fat chef had already walked around. Came behind Ron. He directly pulled out the gun and pointed it at Ron's head. Not long memory. Ron didn't look back at all. When the fat chef just took out the gun and pointed it at Ron's head, the whole gun melted. What? The intense heat instantly burned the fat chef's hands. At the same time, Ben Beckman has appeared right above Ron. Pick up the gun and cover it with armament hockey. He hit Ron's head unexpectedly. Ah, 1 by 1 is endless. Ron closed his eyes directly. In an instant, he seemed to have become the sun. A scorching fireball erupted from the body. It swallows a radius of 100 meters in an instant. It's like a nuclear bomb exploded, centered on Ron. The hot energy spreads instantly. Things within a radius of 100 meters instantly turn to ashes. Including all members of the red-haired Shanks pirates. There is no time to escape. Whitebeard, the closest to Ron, also hurriedly jumped back. At the moment of the moment, this is the limit to avoid. This, Sengoku glanced at Ron in surprise. He seemed to have turned into the sun now. Can freely control the heat scaling. The heat just released instantly, directly killing the entire Shanks pirate group. This. No, Marco will take the rest of the people and run quickly. At this moment, Whitebeard had already noticed something was wrong. Since Ron summoned the sun, his strength has soared to a height beyond his reach. Now he has only a few minutes left in his life. Anyway, he must die, so it's better to stay behind. Let Marco take the rest of the people and leave here quickly. No matter what method you use, you can try one by one. I blamed myself for being careless about this. I didn't expect to rescue Ace, but it took everyone's life. Who would have thought that the foreign aid Sengoku invited was so strong? Advertisement. For flowers. Throughout the entire Marlin, there are many. Now basically all the Marines are watching the show, and they haven't even moved. Only Ron is here to kill the quartet. The rest have no room to intervene. No one dared to come over and intervene. Even the 3 Admiral dare not approach Ron easily now. If one accidentally gets hurt by Ron, it will be dead or hurt. Ron now seemed to walk alone in the sun. Now the ground under Ron's feet has turned into hot lava. Every step, the high temperature radiating from the whole body will continuously melt the earth. Seeing Ron walk towards him step by step, Whitebeard broke them off in order to give Marco. Use all the power directly. Stomped suddenly. Suddenly, the entire island fractured horizontally again. A bottomless gully separated Ron and Whitebeard from it. Ron was like a god of death, almost every step forward. Even though it's so far apart, Whitebeard still felt his skin hot. At the moment, I don't care whether Marco and the others have already evacuated. The entire arm muscles burst out. The blood vessels above are clearly visible. With all his strength, he hung down in Ron's direction. The whole space is directly broken into pieces with Whitebeard Shuangchen as the starting point. Instead, Ron moved faster. He didn't even make Ron take a step back. The shock wave of shock fruit. The entire sea level was also divided into several pieces and tilted down. Yo! One jump. Whitebeard's punch that exhausted all his strength still didn't stop Ron from moving forward. Crossed the bottomless gully created by Whitebeard just now. 4 more pills, it hit Ron with a bang. Ron walked forward step by step, gradually speeding up, and finally turned into a trot. The aftermath of the earthquake alone has made people around them unstable. The small cracks continued to spread in the direction of Duran. He jumped in front of Whitebeard, with 10 times the power of Whitebeard. Chapter 145. Auto-generated chapter title. 145. Kill Whitebeard in seconds and unlock the Sin of Rage template. A must-see for high energy. At this moment, 5 elders who came from Marijoa also saw this scene. They have just arrived in Marin Many. I saw Ron playing against Whitebeard. At the moment, completely stunned. There are so many Marlins, how did it become like this? Almost all were destroyed. There is not a single building intact. The entire island was split in half. This is too exaggerated, right? And how did this Whitebeard explode with more power than usual? What is going on here? Ron's aura is much stronger than during the day. The 5 old guys looked at each other. They were here to investigate the sun. But I didn't expect such a big change to take place here. This made the 5 old guys couldn't help but touch the Uranus in their arms. Perhaps only this ancient weapon could give them a trace of courage to continue to stand here and watch. Well, this Ron is a bit too strong. Do we still have to do something with her? What's a joke? In this state, Ron, how come the 5 of us have been able to fight? Now here's watching the changes. It's not wrong, and the old man agrees. Fortunately, the 5 of us didn't do it in advance. That's really killing ourselves. Thanks to this Whitebeard who tried the water in advance for us, if one day later, it might be 5 of us who would fall into the 753 mistake. The battlefield at the moment. Ron was jumping from the bottomless gully. So fast. Whitebeard had no time to react. Boom. Ron fell heavily on the ground. In an instant, the ground beneath his feet turned into magma again. This scene made 5 elders panic. Naturally, Whitebeard would not stop here and wait for death. At the moment, he gathered all his strength again and punched Ron with a bombardment. At this moment, the distance between him and Ron was very close. The punch hit Ron's face directly. At the same time, the fist was covered with armament hockey, conqueror's hockey, and shock fruit. All his power has been used. The entire space passed by the fist has been shattered. Shock waves were radiating everywhere, and even the clouds in the sky were torn apart. The entire cloud layer is divided into 2 from the middle. The surrounding sea also seemed to be cut apart. This punch. It is the ultimate punch of being the strongest man in the world. Both Sengoku, 5 elders, and Marco and others stared at this punch. This can already represent the strongest attack the entire mankind has wielded. So, what kind of harm will it cause? Monument. In the eyes of everyone, this carries an extremely powerful punch. It was directly intercepted in midair. Ron stretched out a hand. He grabbed Whitebeard's fist firmly. The huge impact was directly resolved. Ron's hands were like iron tongs, firmly nailed there. There is no half movement. Whitebeard's punch, I was caught firmly. This strongest man from the world, this represents the top attack that humans can issue. It was so caught by another man, it's effortless. This. 5 elders, who had just rushed over, were already pale. This desperate power. Advertisement. Ron's strength is much stronger than at noon. How could someone improve so fast? What kind of growth ability is this? This kind of person really regrets not strangling him in the cradle in advance. Letting him grow is the biggest mistake, but now it's too late to regret. Ron in this state is no longer what the 5 of them can deal with. Whitebeard watched in astonishment as Ron grabbed his hand. Even if you want to take it back, you can't do it. This power gap is really too big. His own haki can't even break through his skin. 8%. I'll accept it, Ron said lightly. Whitebeard heard it in the mist. Don't understand what Ron is talking about. Immediately threw another fist and slammed Ron in the face. However, while in midair, he was caught by Ron's other hand. That's it, Whitebeard, you should rest, Ron said lightly. What exactly is your ability? Whitebeard knew he was bound to die. Before he died, just want to know the answer, he didn't want to die so unclear. And Ron didn't hide him. In fact, Ron has never concealed his strength, it's just that no one has ever asked him about it. These people are all guessing, but they don't know that as long as they ask Ron will tell them. Ron glanced at the sun directly and said faintly. It's the sun, sure enough, does it get stronger as it gets noon? That's right. So, it seems that our previous speculations were correct, and it was also correct to choose a night attack, but I didn't expect you to be able to summon the sun. Whitebeard said flatly. Day or night, for me now, there is no difference. Ron shook his head, then just looked at Whitebeard. Even Ron's eyes were extremely hot, the entire Whitebeard body began to burn violently. Whitebeard didn't even have time to feel the pain. The whole person has been reduced to ashes. As one of the 4 emperors, the strongest man, it ended. No one in the entire 4 emperors group was spared. Sengoku and Garp looked at each other. Whitebeard is really dead. The entire 4 emperors disappeared just one day today. 5 elders. 3 admiral. The marine soldiers even forgot to cheer, their open mouths could not be closed. The process of killing Whitebeard was so fast and smooth. This difference in strength makes the audience present do not even know what to say. Can only be speechless. Shocked, and Ron was killing Whitebeard at the same time. A system prompt was received. Congratulations to host for killing Whitebeard. The progress of the Crime of Pride template has been increased by 8%. Close black lens bracket. The progress of the Crime of Pride template has exceeded 100%. Please host select the next 7 deadly sins template. All this is in Ron's plan, and Ron had already thought about it. So he said directly, choose the sin of anger template. The Crime of Anger template is loaded successfully. Currently, the progress of the Crime of Anger template is 0.2%. Host selectable world +1, advertisement, loading Naruto world, time, 9 tails attacked Konoha village. Host can choose to enter at any time. Whether to choose the image of the Crime of Anger, choosing the image of the Crime of Anger can directly increase the progress by 10%. Choose. Just when Ron's voice fell. Ron's whole body was from the sturdy man just now. He turned into a beautiful blonde boy. The flame on his body also disappeared. Ron's appearance is still Ron's original appearance, but he has been dressed as Meliodas in terms of dress and temperament. Even the height is 2. Host's current template progress is 10.2%. Already inherited all the abilities of the Crime of Arrogance to the current template. That means I can use the power of arrogance in this state, right? The template ability that is correctly completed will be inherited to the next template. Ron's image suddenly became a blonde kid, just in full view. Until this time, everyone at Marine reacted. In an instant, everyone fell into the carnival. Everyone chanted Ron's name. Killed 4 Emperor's men in one day. Sengoku and Garp frowned when they saw Ron's image. A bad premonition was born in their hearts. Should this be a side effect of Ron's use of this ability? It is possible. After all, the heaven-defying ability of summoning the sun at night cannot be without side effects. How do you feel that Ron's momentum suddenly weakened a lot? It must be a side effect. The whole body has become so small, doesn't it look like the side effect after using the first life return? Sengoku and Garp couldn't help worrying about Ron's body. Because Ron's current template progress is only 10.2%. So it gives people a particularly weak feeling. Especially after seeing, hearing and color perception, it is obvious that Ron's breath is too weak. Especially compared to the state just now, it's just that they don't know that this is only 10.2% of the Sin of Anger template. But his current strength is more than 1 level stronger than before. Ron not only inherited the sun magic power of the Crime of Arrogance, but also possessed Meliodas' full counterattack magic power and the ability of demonization. Ron's strength now is no longer a category that the world can understand. But, after all, someone was thinking about it. The already desperate 5 elders, seeing the battle between Ron and Whitebeard, even gave up their hatred of Ron. But what they never expected was, after killing Whitebeard, Ron unexpectedly had sequelae. The whole body has shrunk to this point. And the breath has become weak. 5.2 Relying on what they saw and heard, they could clearly perceive that Ron's current strength was not as good as the 5 of them. So, the opportunity is here. This is simply a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If I miss it this time, I don't know what chance I can kill Ron. This is the only chance. The 5 old guys looked at each other. At the same time, he touched Uranus in his arms. This opportunity seemed to be given to them by heaven. If the gods don't take it, they are subject to chaos. Take advantage of his illness and kill him, the 5 old guys gritted their teeth. So he came to Ron. The closer they're to Ron, the more they can feel the faintness of Ron's breath now. It made them more determined. It also convinced them that Ron's smaller body must be a sequelae, caused by forcing the use of that power at night. If Ron was wrong to kill him at this time, there would be no such opportunity again. According to Ron's style, he will definitely threaten the world government. Before, 5 elders was still regretting not killing Ron in the cradle. Unexpectedly, the opportunity would come so soon. 5 more, today in 0.0, Chapter 146, Auto-Generated Chapter Title. 146. Marine. We only listen to Ron Admiral's orders, what is prestige? The dragons have no heads. Now the entire Marlin has gathered the forces of the 3-4 emperors. The Whitebeard Pirates group, Kaido Pirates, Shanks Pirates. It was originally an extremely vicious group of pirates. The 3 forces come together, even the world government must be a little jealous. However, at the moment, Kaido, Whitebeard, Shanks are all dead, and the captains of these pirate groups are gone. This makes the remaining pirates, I didn't know what to do for a while. Ron is too strong. After watching Ron's battle with his own eyes, these people no longer had any thoughts of resistance. Going up to fight is just to die, there are no objections. As for avenging the captain, there is no way to talk about it. The strength gap is so big that they don't even dare to have revenge. But this is the situation right now, they did not dare to move first. For fear of angering the killer in front of him, at this moment, the Marines are all cheering. Ron Admiral shouting loudly. The aura of the entire Marine side was like overwhelming, pressing towards the pirate. There is only a thin line between the two sides, but they are in sharp contrast. Ron looked at these pirates, they were gone, and he had to deal with their thoughts. Just wave to Marine, he said in a very calm tone. Take them down. Gave an order, in an instant, the whole Marine was quiet. Then he responded in a very solemn and respectful manner. The ring stood upright and saluted. Sengoku hasn't seen these Marines take missions so seriously since 14. It can be seen how far Ron's prestige has reached. And he is the marshal here. Ron is an army admiral, and he directly issues orders without saying whether he violates the rules or not. According to normal circumstances, it is impossible for Marine to listen to him. But now the opposite is true. The entire Marine soldier did not even look at the Marine high-level side. When receiving Ron's order, they swarmed at the pirates. This momentum, this energy, is this still your own Marine? Sengoku was at a loss. Get them all quickly. Listen to Ron Admiral. These Marine soldiers, shouting for victory, rushed into the pirate crowd in an instant. Where did the pirates dare to resist? At this moment, they all looked dull and dull. When Marine came over, he was beaten. Most people didn't even have time to resist. A small number of people who want to resist also tried to struggle. However, how could it be such an imposing Marine soldier opponent? I was subdued in a few strokes. I saw that there were many pirates in the entire Marlin, row after row, being tortured away. Advertisement: there are only a few places where there are mixed sounds of gold and iron. Obviously still resisting. But since Ron took a burst of sun with his hand, he killed the 3 volleys who were still struggling in a small nest not far away. No one dared to resist anymore. Are you kidding me? There may be a way to survive. If you resist, this will end in ashes. These Marine soldiers screamed even more wildly. Ron's deterrence really increased their confidence. After the end of a few volleyball players just now, the pirates dare not resist at all now. He even raised his hands directly, waiting for the Marine soldiers to come and lean them away. Because there are too many pirates. Obviously, the captured Marines' manpower was a little anxious. At this moment, there are smarter Marine soldiers, just like commanding troops, directing these prisoners to move forward. The entire Marlin is numerous and presents an extremely strange phenomenon. The pirates were even neater than those at Marine Station, and walked towards the makeshift cell where they were held in an organized manner. People like beasts pirates, since Ron just killed the 3 volleys. Proactively surrender, very aware of current affairs. All the senior officials of the Shanks Pirates are dead. The rest are just ordinary pirates, it is impossible to resist. The only ones who are somewhat reluctant are Marco and Diamond George. It's just 3 Admiral who arrested them, started by Akainu and Aokiji. They just want to resist, and there is no way to deal with 2 admirals. They can only be taken away by force. Ron now had no hot flames on his body. The sun in the sky also gradually disappeared, the whole time returned to normal. Back to what it should be in the early morning, after the sun disappears. The headlights came on again in the numerous squares of Marin. Ron came to Sengoku. Said, kill all the prisoners in your underwater jail, and these will be compensated for you. If the undersea prison is empty, Magellan should be unemployed. Sengoku looked at the child in amazement. This is completely different from Ron before. There is no sense of pressure that makes people breathless. On the contrary, he is more easygoing and easy to get along with. Sengoku certainly didn't know what was going on. Are you really okay like this? Sengoku asked uncertainly, because Ron's size is so different from the previous one. Sengoku rightfully believed that this was a side effect of calling the sun. It's the same as the return of life. Too much health is squeezed out at once, and the body shrinks. Ron smiled and said, it can't be better. Ron's current strength is much stronger than before. Of course there is no such situation that Sengoku is worried about. It's just that the entire Marine executives all think that Ron has sequelae. It made them admire Ron even more. Advertisement: in order to reach the Whitebeard Pirates, he did not hesitate to let the body become like this. Army Admiral is indeed worthy of admiration. However, now that the pirates are almost gone, Sengoku, we are probably going to be unemployed. Garp came over and patted Sengoku on the shoulder and said, yeah, Who would have thought that the 4 emperors would be gone in one day? The old man had just borrowed an army admiral from Kong with the idea of increasing combat power. Who would have thought it would be done once and for all? Speaking of which, Sengoku stood at attention and made a military salute to Ron. This is Martial Marine, saluting an admiral for the first time. Not only that, Garp, Suru's staff, Akainu, Aokiji and other marine executives all made the same action. Ron is worthy of their admiration. He almost ended the confrontation in the sea for nearly 20 years. Soon, these children have all been arrested. After executing the order, the marine soldiers stood on the square again, in a neat row. Just when Ron, Garp and Sengoku were talking about post-war arrangements. Suddenly, 5 old guys jumped off the boat. Here comes 5 elders, in a suit and leather shoes. CPO opens on the left and right. What are you doing here? Sengoku frowned and asked. Wu 5 elders chooses to come at this time, surely nothing good. 5 elders, fat, first glanced at Ron, who was like a child. Under the close perception, he confirmed again with his outstanding experience. It was found that Ron's momentum had dropped a lot. I even feel 753 is not as good as an admiral. It seems that the sequelae is indeed committed. This is great. 5 elders, fat, was silent and delighted. Unexpectedly, you guys solved all the 4 emperors. That's great. This is worthy of praise. After the old man goes back, I will show you Master Yim and reward all of you marines. 5 elders, fat, first threw a big pie. When he saw the expressions of the marine soldiers were very happy. 5 elders, fat, knew that his purpose was achieved. Then suddenly his complexion changed, said coldly. However, now someone here has violated the order of the world government and needs to be brought back for processing. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Suddenly pointed to Ron and said, and from the joy just now, his eyes gradually became cold. 5 elders, fat, thought it relied on his identity as 5 elders, plus the promise to marine soldiers just now. Even 5 elders felt uncomfortable. Get Ron up for me. 5 elders, hiring, waved a big hand. Tens of thousands of marines stared at him with cold eyes at the same time. Give an order. Just look at 5 elders, fat, coldly. What are you doing? Didn't you hear my order? Kame all and grab him. All marine soldiers follow my orders. One more, when you have completed this final work, you can accept the award. No one moved unexpectedly at the scene. After his own order, all marine soldiers will rush to capture Luo. But he never expected it. Chapter 147, auto-generated chapter title. 147. What is 5 elders? Want to move Ron? Did Marine agree? No one in the whole marine moved. They all looked at 5 elders with very weird and cold eyes. This really makes 5 elders feel a little inexplicable. This group of marines who are usually very obedient, why don't they listen to their orders? You know, he is the 5 elders of the world government. These marine soldiers saw themselves. That is already a great honor. Being able to carry out their orders is also a gift to them. What's more, he promised to reward them, but why is no one moved? 5 elders, fat. Are you going to rebel? Have you heard me talking? I'll say it again, everyone listened to my order, grabbed Ron for me, and brought him to Marijoa. Quiet, still weirdly quiet, still so cold eyes. Still no one moved. 5 elders, fat, S face was a little uncontrollable. Frowning. Said coldly, Sengoku, what are you still doing? Didn't you hear my order? Hurry up and order. When you don't do it, when I do it, the nature of the matter will be different. 5 elders, fat, was obviously already a little angry. As the highest authority, as the leader of the world government, he doesn't like this feeling of being out of control. Marine is just an organization under their world government. There can be more than one such violent institution. But today he discovered that Marine could not be commanded. This makes him very upset. Sengoku frowned, standing in front of Ron. Then said, what are you doing here? If there is anything, let's talk about it later. Today, our Marine is too tired and needs to be repaired. Sengoku's tone was also low, did not give 5 elders face. Actually, Sengoku is very upset now. Next year the Marine killed the 4 emperors and became the world government directly under Marine. When I came here, my first request was to capture the greatest hero in this battle. What is the reason for this? 5 elders, fat, Sengoku, what's the tone of this guy talking to me? Follow my orders. Don't forget the status and identity of your Marine. 5 elders, fat, reminded coldly. The 5 elders behind him also stood in a row. Obviously, their patience has arrived. Marine's actions really disappointed them. Advertisement is a violent organization of the world government. What they have to do is to obey orders, not to resist orders as they do now. The 5 elders stood in a row, very oppressive. It seems that if Marine is not obedient, they will do it themselves. But Marine, not only is there no retreat, while Sengoku stood up, Garp also followed. Subsequently, Akainu Admiral, Aokiji Admiral, and Kizaru Admiral also stood in a row. The 5 highest levels of Marine headed by Sengoku. Standing head-on with 5 elders, Sengoku and others blocked Ron behind him. Ron is still a kid at this moment. Sengoku rightly believed that Ron had serious sequelae now. After all, even the sun was summoned just now, it must have been backlashed. And Ron's breath now is not as good as before, it looks very faint. The whole body has become a child. and 5 elders is coming to trouble Ron at this time. Sengoku would definitely not want to. Several other marine executives have the same idea. Even if facing 5 elders, they also stood in front of Ron resolutely. This is already a silent signal. Show that they are protecting Ron at all costs. Although these 5 marine executives were seriously injured in the battle with Whitebeard. But he still stood in front of Ron without hesitation. To be honest, when Ron first saw this scene, he was still a little moved. Although he himself knew that his strength had not declined, it had increased a lot. But obviously, the 5 people standing in front of him didn't know. However, they are still willing to stand here to protect themselves. This not only does not let Ron sigh, but the comrades who have experienced the battle together are still very warm. 5 elders, hi, Sengoku, are you trying to rebel? You can think about it. Are you sure? Are you going to take hundreds of thousands of marine on this road of no return? Can you represent them? Separate military minds? This 5 elders deserves to be a political master. A good way to sow discord. He wanted Martial Marine to be separated from these soldiers. They so I speak very loudly, it is to be heard by all marine soldiers present. Here their marshal will rebel. Let these soldiers understand what their actions mean now. Move advertisement. This trick is really vicious. However, what 5 elders never expected was, at this moment, the marine soldiers shouted in unison. We are willing to advance and retreat with Ron Admiral. We are willing to advance and retreat with Ron Admiral. The shouts shook the sky. Very neat, majestic. 5 elders, high, turned dark. Are these marine soldiers crazy too? They knew that such a move was a rebellion. Morale is still so high, still so united. Sure enough, Ron couldn't stay. This strengthens the belief of 5 elders. Ron, he has only been here for a few days now, and he has already captured the hearts of the army. Has such a high reputation, if this really makes him recover. Reach the peak state. Wouldn't it be that one day he waved his arms? These marine soldiers will follow him to Marijoa? This is by no means impossible. 5 elders, Fat, was already unable to sit still. Fortunately, it was discovered early. Fortunately, Ron is now in a weak state. Fortunately, Ron is now in the aftermath of the battle. 5 elders, Fat, didn't care about these marine soldiers this time either. Since they all have this idea, then there is no need to keep these people. After finishing Ron, we will clean up marine. 5 elders, Fat, directly pushed Sengoku away. Walked towards Ron. Looking at the actions of marine senior management made 5 elders more convinced that Ron is now in a weak state. 5 elders, Sword, said coldly. With the 5 of you, we can't stop us now, don't be boring. It seems that now is indeed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Otherwise, there will be no chance in the future. The 5 old guys glanced at each other. 2 more. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Prepare to break through the interception of 5 marine high levels and kill Ron. Otherwise, with Ron's previous state of heaven and earth, how could he need protection? Isn't it because Ron is weak? Huh, the old man can't get through here. Otherwise, why would these marine executives stand in front of Lewin to protect him? Even if you tear your face with marine, you must kill Ron. The two sides suddenly reached the point of tension. Kizaru rubbed his chin and frowned. Zhao Lihao, stopped to 5 elders directly. Have made a state of fighting. Chapter 148, auto-generated chapter title. 148. Tashigi, lend me your sword. I'll counterattack the devil Ron. Ron, it looks like they are really going to do it. If you are taken away by them, it will be over. You go first. Suru, you take Ron and leave here first. Sengoku frowned and ordered Suru behind him. They didn't expect that after dealing with the 4 emperors, the bigger trouble would be 5 elders. This is terrible, but Sengoku absolutely cannot withdraw. This guy Ron, but one person wiped out all the truth. He couldn't leave when Ron was most weak, you know, but he asked Ron to come and help. So Sengoku's lineup in this wave is obvious. He thought that 5 elders was wrong. 3. Although there is a little friction between Admiral and Ron more or less. But these are all irrelevant things, in terms of principles. Even the hottest-tempered Akainu can't understand 5 elders' approach of crossing the river to demolish the bridge. The crane staff nodded. Even though she has always been more sane, she knows that their marine's current status absolutely cannot cause friction with the world government. As a military institution of the world government, all marine had to do was to obey orders. 757. But the approach of 5 elders really made Crane's staff look down on it. Leave here with me Ron, the rest will be handled by Sengoku. You have worked hard enough today. Don't worry, our marine will not hurt you in any way. After that, the matter will be handled by us marine. The crane staff came to Ron very coolly and handsomely. Then he bent over and said to Ron, the main reason is that Ron is a little short now, and Staff Crane had to bend over. Ron didn't expect the marine would say such bold words. But marine's kindness, he actually took note of it. In such a crisis, he can stand firmly on his side and be an enemy of the world government. This is enough to show that marine is still very reliable. And Sengoku and the others didn't know that their strength had become stronger. Even in this case, advertisement, the 5 marine seniors dragged their badly injured bodies and also stopped in front of them. Ron couldn't help but smiled and shook his head. They're already very good if they can have this intention. Not in vain to help them, but With their badly injured body, they are not a non-disturbing opponent. Ron naturally couldn't leave here. If he does leave, maybe the angry 5 elders with CP0 can easily get Sengoku away. Sengoku suffered the most serious injuries among them. Akainu and Aokiji have almost no fighting power. Garp and Kizaru are slightly better. But, opposite is 5 elders and CP0 in complete state. It's definitely not the state of the 5 of them that can stop them. These 5 guys are probably determined to die. Ron patted the staff of Crane on the shoulder. Although he looked like a child, he said in a very sophisticated tone. I will handle my own affairs by myself. Ron's words were very gentle. After all, it is the head template, if you follow the previous template for the crime of arrogance. Ron might have said earlier, how can a mere human being help, can I use you to help? The change in Ron Z's attitude surprised the staff of Crane. Some are not used to it, but she only thought that Ron was just doing her best. So he said, Ron, don't be aggressive, you have already eliminated the 4 emperors, and it only takes 1 day. If I guess correctly, summoning this round of the sun should cost you a lot, right? You are in the state of your body, so leave here first. After you regain your strength, it will not be too late to find them to settle your account. BEFC, Crane staff said kindly. Toshigi and Momosagi also tried to persuade them. Ron. It seems that these guys really misunderstood. Not to mention that you have inherited the power of the sin of arrogance. Even if you don't use the power of the sin of arrogance, you simply use the 10.2% sin of anger template. These 5 guys will not be their opponents, and Ron is here for another important reason. That is the template of these 5 elders, which can increase Ron by at least 30%. This is extremely rare. With Ron's current state, killing the pirate no longer increases the progress. Advertisement: the whole pirate world can contribute to Ron template again. Only 5 elders of the world government are left. Maybe there is Yimu who has never met before, apart from these. Unless you turn on the template of sin of desire, maybe you will be able to brush faster in the pirate world. After all, there are still many female roles here. Superior. We hold these 5 people, you walk around from behind and kill Ron. Simply I don't plan to play 5 elders anymore, directly command CP0. Yes, CP0 is directly loyal to 5 elders, no matter how dirty the work is, they will do it. At this moment, upon receiving the order of 5 elders, they immediately divided into 2 teams, left and right, to outflank. He was going to bypass Sengoku and other 5 people and kill Ron directly from behind. 5 elders, fat, can accurately measure Ron's current strength with his experience and color, and he is not the opponent of these CPOs at all. Although there is a Crane staff there, the Crane staff can stop a few CPOs, at most 2. And this time he brought 10 people. Sengoku and others just wanted to intercept. But he was directly angry by 5 elders. Sengoku, you don't think that facing the 5 of us, you still want to control others, do you? Sengoku's old face turned black. For the first time I felt that 5 elders was so shameless. Actually used this method to deal with a great hero who just solved the 4 emperors. Now, because of the containment of 5 elders, as a result, no Sengoku country and others can't get out of it. Suru, take Ron first. Sengoku shouted. The Crane staff looked at the figure rushing from left to right. Just wanted to persuade Ron, but suddenly he found Ron smiling and saying to Toshigi. Lend me your sword. Toshigi looked dumbfounded. Ah? My sword is very ordinary. Chapter 149, auto-generated chapter title. 149. What about the good, power decline, why is it stronger? It's all said, don't be distracted, broken, only a bang was heard. Sengoku was directly hit by a 5 elders, it flew out, so far. Because Sengoku was really worried about Ron just now, so he focused on CPO. Never expected, 5 elders is so insidious, suddenly attacked while Sengoku was not paying attention. This blow directly became the fuse of the battle between the 2 sides. In an instant, 3. Admiral and Garp rushed up first. 5 elders, 1-to-1. With their current state of all remaining, calmly deal with it. But after all, they are all top powerhouses. The battle here is really so that outsiders can't get in. The other marines around can only watch and worry outside. I can't help if I want to help. This level of battle is not something they can intervene. What's more worrying is Ron Admiral's side. Obviously CPO is about to be close. Why is Ron Admiral still picking up girls there? At this time, what are you still borrowing the sword from Toshigi for? Run quickly. I just remembered to take the weapon now, isn't it a bit late? A CPO with a yin and yang face mask said coldly. At this moment, he was coming back towards Ron from the left. And behind him, there are also 2 CPUs. On the right side, there are also 3 CP0s. These guys wear all kinds of masks. Ron took the sword in Toshigi's hand. In this era of great knives and great knives, Toshigi's small piercing knife is really hard to handle. Although it is also a famous knife, however, the Liankuai knife is not much different from the ordinary knife. Toshigi didn't know what Ron did with the knife. Staff Crane knew that he could not persuade Ron to leave here. The top priority is to protect Ron's safety immediately. So she tore off the cloak directly. The body is over half 100 years old, although a little tired. But he still stood in front of Ron. After all, Ron has killed 4 emperors in a row for their marines, and now, Ron is in the weakest state again. So if you fight this old life, you can let Ron die. Not just the crane staff, Momosagi's Vice Admiral is also standing in front of Ron. Old woman. Being self-reliant. In CP0, the personnel wearing black and white chestpiece masks didn't seem to put Crane's staff in the eyes. Advertisement, it is even more impossible to put Momosagi in his eyes. Said very disdainfully. In their CPO's eyes, there is only the task, and anyone who prevents him from completing the task will be treated as an obstacle and removed. This also includes Marine. Othello, CPO, stabs Ron at the same time. One side ordered. Kill this old woman and this Vice Admiral first. The remaining 5 people immediately understood. They are 100 meters away from the target, flew directly. A turquoise light, but a flowing layer of armament hockey outside. Foot. This bunch of CPO is really not comparable to CP9. They are not just Grandmaster Marine 6 styles, and it can perfectly blend hockey in 6 styles. The kicked foot can also carry armament hockey. This time the power is more than 10 times stronger than ordinary Phoenix feet. The crane staff frowned, cold sweat was shed on both sides of her cheeks. These 6 people attacked together, to be honest. She couldn't stop. The crane staff does not have the powerful combat power of Sengoku and Garp. Compared with these 2 old monsters, she is much worse. Momosagi is also on guard. She hadn't done much in the fight, and she was already very guilty. If you let Ron, the hero in battle, die, then she is really meaningless as Marine. Momosagi decided that even if he died, they would never let them attack the hero Ron. Forget it, if you can't stop it, just use your body to block it. The crane staff and Momosagi gritted their teeth. Just ready to take a step forward, suddenly found a hand on the shoulders of both of them. Let's stay behind, leave it to me here. Ron pulled the 2 behind him. These 2 guys couldn't stop the 6 CPOs. Of course Ron knew that. Ron, Admiral, with your current body, don't try to be aggressive. Momosagi was stunned, and said worriedly. Ron, just leave it to us 2, you can leave first. The crane staff is now fully focused, staring at the attack of the 6 men. Don't dare to be distracted. Ron shook his head lightly. Very calm. Gently pushed these 2 people behind him. Stand well here, be careful for a while and accidentally hurt you. Staff Suru and Momosagi certainly did not want to hide behind. But they found that Ron's power was great, ask for flowers. Advertisement, although it seems to push the 2 of them gently. But they found that no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't get rid of Ron's power. Obviously Ron's body is only a little more than 1.5 meters at most, how can it be so powerful? Momosagi. Crane staff officer, push the 2 behind. The 6 Phoenix feet with armament hockey had already rushed over. The entire space seems to be fragmented, very fast. Even during the flight, a certain amount of space distortion was produced. The strength of these 6 guys is much stronger than the 6 volleys. Worthy of being CP0. The foundation of the world government is really not to be underestimated. Under them, there are not only powerful violent organizations like Marine, but also Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon among other organizations. The whole celestial dragons can dominate the world for 800 years, and it is not without reason. Huh. Did you take the initiative to stand in front? That's easier. The CPO in the Othello mask said without emotion. At this time, 6 lacquered black crescent rays cut through the air. He was about to hit Ron. I saw Ron still having a calm expression. Holding Tashiji's sword in his right hand, with a light wave in front of him. All counterattack. Boom. Tempest kick crosses the short sword. A dazzling light flashed. An incredible scene for everyone happened. Originally aggressive feat, now, it's strangely enlarged several times. And then disappear directly when they show up again. Has appeared in front of 6 CPOs, there is no time to escape. Puff. Moment, 6 bloodstains came out from the air. You got hit in the foot by your own. It seems that this hockey attack is judged to be a magical attack. Ron said lightly, and in the air, the 6 figures that came flying. Hundreds of flying upside down Tashigi. Ah, is this my sword? Momosagi. What did Ron Admiral do? Staff Officer Crane. What about the sequelae of the good news? Isn't the strength declining? Why'd I become more incomprehensible? Chapter 150. Auto-generated chapter title, 150. Why are you so strong without the sun? Use Uranus. The 6-5 elders were hit by their own feet and stood up from the ground with difficulty. Even the mask on his face was shattered. At this moment, they looked dumbfounded. Can't figure out what's going on at all. Obviously he was attacking Ron. Why did he get hit? I have never seen such a method, and according to the information, Ron's combat ability is clearly on fire. When did you learn to use the sword? How is this going? Sengoku et al. And 5 elders are fighting each other. While they were fighting, they watched Ron's side. Sengoku was still worried that CP0 would sneak attack on Ron. But he never expected that Ron would always surprise him. Although Sengoku couldn't figure out what method Ron used. It looks weird. But the good news is that Ron, 757 guy, even if he is weak like this, can deal with CP0. Because Ron's breath is not very strong at the moment, and his body is still like a child. Therefore, Sengoku still believes that Ron is in a sequelae state. 5 elders is even more dazed. They thought that this time the CPO would definitely be a good one. Unexpectedly, 6 people were beaten back directly. What are you still doing? Hurry up and attack. This Ron is the end of the war, don't be fooled by him. 5 elders, fat, are playing against Sengoku, don't anger at the CPO. Actually, 5 elders, fat, is despicable. The reason why he let CPO kill his offense is that on the one hand, he hopes that CPO will kill Ron directly, which is better. On the other hand, if CP0 really can't kill Ron, but playing with him more, it will also give 5 elders more time to watch Ron's weird fighting style. It can be said that the old traitor has slipped. It's really interesting to watch you change from hope to despair. Ron carried Tashigi's broken sword in his hand, step by step towards the direction of CPO. At this moment, Tashigi, Momosagi and Suru's staff were standing behind Ron in a daze. Even if they watched it so close, they didn't figure out how Ron attacked just now. Go. Don't stand together, divide into 6 directions and attack together. The headed CPO said directly. Subsequently, 6 people disappeared directly from the place. Do not. The speed was extremely fast, and he immediately surrounded Ron from 6 directions. Ron still carried the sword. The expression is very calm. It's just that the pace of walking is getting faster and faster. Finally disappeared directly in place, in an instant. Advertisement Lala, a blade of light flashed, the headed CPO was directly hacked to death. Ron's speed is too fast. They only saw CP0 die, but they didn't see the person who killed him. Immediately afterwards, the second voice rang from the other direction. Puff up. Another CP0 fell to the ground, or no one saw where the attacker was. Immediately after, the third CP0 fell to the ground. The remaining 3 panicked immediately. Look around. However, how can they find Ron at such a moving speed? Puff. Another fell down. Even if the remaining 2 have been using the system, they are constantly changing their positions in space. But fate is still inevitable. There are 2 more sounds. The 2 CPOs fell directly to the ground, almost in an instant. The 6 strongest espionage agencies, they all lay on the ground. Already dead. Ron didn't even look at them, walked to Tashigi. Then he handed the sword to Tashigi, said, return your sword. Tashigi's dumbfounded hands took him and Shigur again. He couldn't believe that his sword had become so powerful in Ron's hands. Sit down here and don't move, otherwise it will affect you. Ron said to Momosagi again. I also patted Momosagi's asterisk by the way. Momosagi. Boom, suddenly Sengoku was beaten into the air. It happened to fly in Ron's direction. Ron reached out a hand directly to support Sengoku. You go down and rest, too, Ron said to Sengoku. This guy can stand up at this time, for himself and the world government as an enemy. It was already Ron's admitted teammate. Sengoku was severely injured by Whitebeard 10 times before, resulting in a severe reduction in combat effectiveness. Advertisement naturally it won't be 5 elders' opponent. You all get back, too, Ron said to the 3 Admiral and Garp who were resisting. Several of them have been beaten back by 5 elders. There are also masters in 5 elders, especially the old man with the sword. That sword is the original Onaitoru. Among the 5 people, this old man is the strongest. 5 elders, fat, you. Now there is obviously no sun, how can you be so strong? Didn't you tell old man Whitebeard that your strength depends on the sun? Obviously, these 5 elders also heard the question Whitebeard asked before his death. Ron did say it at that time, but his ability depends on the sun. Ron didn't speak. Only, at that time Ron's template was still a crime of arrogance, but now it has become a crime of anger. The sun is no longer needed. Ah, that was before, now the sun is no longer needed. Ron said calmly. 5 elders, fat, looked angry, pointed at Ron and said, are you wanting us? The voice just fell. Ron appeared directly in front of 5 elders, fat. Fu Curse Prison Flame. A black flame appeared in his hand. Ron slashed the weapon that entangled. Black flame, the flame of hell. This is obviously becoming stronger, straight across the chest of 5 elders, fat. But, puff, still pierced in the chest. 5 more, today end. 5 elders, fat, had already been cold when they met each other. Quick, use Uranus, can't keep your hands, use Uranus to kill him. The other 4 or 5 elders saw this and immediately stepped back. Affectionate. The 4 or 5 elders didn't care much and I didn't expect to lose one person so quickly. Even 5 elders reacted and used armament hockey to fully defend. You are all dead in my eyes, what do you want to do? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Just one trick, why is this weak? Ron said lightly. Chapter 151. Auto-generated chapter title, 151. Uranus. One person can destroy the power of a country. Looking at the 5 elders who fell on the ground. Sengoku never expected, 5 elders, who had put them in a hard fight just now, were killed by Ron in a single encounter. He didn't even understand how Ron made the move. What happened to the dark mist in Ron's hand just now? It didn't look like hockey either. Why did it directly pierce the body under 5 elders' full defense with a light wave? Sengoku looked at Ron incredulously, a look dumbfounded. And Ron is clearly weak now. Why is the strength shown so strong? Even surpassed the state just now. Sengoku looked up at the sky incredulously. That's right, it's still dark. The sun did not come out. That moonlight also seemed to exist and disappear. Didn't Ron admit it himself? He is not saying that his ability is the sun, Only when the sun comes out can he exert his true strength. It doesn't look like the current situation. The sun did not come out. Ron's performance was 14 times stronger than when the sun came out just now. Sengoku found that it was not just him looking up. At this moment, almost all Marines invariably looked up at the sky. They are all confirming, is it a dark sky now? After all, not long ago. Right after Ron defeated Whitebeard, his body suddenly became smaller. And the sun in the sky also disappeared. It has to be reminiscent that Ron Admiral must have received some backlash. It must be a sequelae of using some kind of power. And Ron's aura and pressure are much smaller than before. This made them firmer in this idea. This made all the Marines worried about Ron, so when 5 elders came to capture Ron, they bravely stood up and blocked Ron in front. It was all done, and today I am ready to coexist and die with Ron. However, I suddenly found out now, your uncle is still your uncle. Ron Admiral not only did not become weaker, but became stronger instead. Ron Admiral is simply unfathomable. This is the mind of all Marine soldiers at the moment. Advertisement before changing, if a Marine's high level kills a 5 elders, all Marines will fall into a deep panic. I am afraid that the world government will retaliate against them. But now, the person who killed 5 elders was Ron. Their attitudes are completely different. Even many Marine soldiers have begun to cheer. This is prestige. When a person's prestige is beyond the reach of all Marine soldiers, then Marine soldiers will support whatever he does. Even kill 5 elders, it will only make these soldiers shout and kill them. After all, they can't find such a superior person, master. Sengoku looked at his soldier and cheered so much, even if it was him, he felt a little weird. It seems that after tonight, the whole world is about to change. Garp touched his head, also puzzled. Ron's performance has subverted all their previous speculations about Ron. They thought they knew enough about Ron, but only found out today. Far from understanding Ron, I thought Ron's strength was determined by changes in the sun. But now it seems, when there is no sun, his strength is so great. This overturned their previous speculation. They found that every time they were about to understand Ron, they found that he had become even more mysterious. Well, old man, we wanted to protect Ron just now. It turns out that he doesn't need us to protect him. I thought he was in a state of weakness, but now it seems that this is a state of weakness. This is simply a state of violent. Garp glanced at Sengoku and said, yes, the strength of 5 elders is indeed very strong. We have experienced it firsthand just now. We didn't expect such a powerful 5 elders to be just a blow in front of Ron. So, it seems that the remaining 4 guys are not enough for Ron to kill. Sengoku finally felt relieved. The pain on his body at this moment also gradually passed. Just now, because he was in a fighting state and wanted to protect Ron, the pain didn't seem obvious. Now that I finally let go, the physical pain became even more unscrupulous. The crane staff is bandaging the wounds of Sengoku and Garp. Seeing that Ron's strength was not damaged, everyone was relieved. Even now it is fighting against the world government. Advertisement, they still didn't worry at all. Although they are on the battlefield, they can relax and bandage their comrades' wounds. Although everyone is silent now, but in fact, they are all thinking secretly in their hearts. If they really leave 5 elders here today, then, what should their Marine do next? Will it replace it by conquering the world? What kind of revenge will that tricky Emu launch? Wait a minute, what are the 4 of them doing? At this time, Akainu, who has been paying attention to the battle, said suddenly. All the eyes of these people were attracted in an instant. They found out. The 5 elders actually took something out of their arms. Moreover, the expressions of the 4 of them suddenly changed to harsh. No, do they want to use Uranus? As Martial Marine, Sengoku is naturally knowledgeable. He has heard about Uranus's rumors. 757. Although I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but it has been passed down from generation to generation in Martial Marine's log. And I also heard from the top of the world government, from the side. Garp just let go of his heart, and raised it again. Frowned and said, you mean, the fellow Yimu approved them to use Uranus? He still remembers the battle in the Valley of the Gods, and the big reason was that rocks robbed Uranus. If this is the case, it would be bad. What do you mean by Uranus? Aokiji asked the 2 old guys with mysterious faces. Sengoku sighed and said, this is the taboo of the 3 ancient weapons, which are the same as Pluton and Poseidon. It's that the world government has always wanted to cover up secrets. With it, one person can destroy a country. I heard Sengoku say that. All Marine including San Admiral took a breath. Unexpectedly, the world government still has such a killer move. One person can destroy a country, but the other party still has 4 people. Ron Admiral, it's dangerous. Chapter 152, Auto-generated chapter title. 152. This is your first transformation. Ron is demonized. Staff Crane had some incomprehensible questions. Is that so-called Uranus so exaggerated? Sengoku nodded. His face was gloomy, and he said solemnly. I just heard. Did someone from the world government tell you? No, to be precise, Rocks should have told me, immediately after. Sengoku and Garp told a dusty secret, when the Rocks were captured. Rocks accidentally revealed Uranus information to them. Disagree Pluton is a battleship, and different from Poseidon, who is a mermaid princess. The so-called Uranus is a medicine. The most frightening thing is that it is a medicine that can be mass-produced. The battle in the Valley of the Gods, why does the world government try to eliminate this piece of history? It was because in that battle, Uranus's secrets were leaked out. The formula of this medicine is divided into 3 parts. Later, he was left on 3 islands. Part of it has been lost to the Fishman Island, where a murderous drug has been developed. After eating it, it can increase one's strength dozens of times, hundreds of times, at the cost of life. The other part fell to the fur family, was developed into a magic drug. After taking this medicine, the injury can be recovered instantly. Even an extremely serious injury can heal as quickly as possible. After Zoro was severely injured by the ant and Kaido, it was only after taking this medicine that he recovered in a short time. But he also has extremely serious side effects, and the last part, which fell into the Kingdom of Giants, was later called a potion. After eating it, you can gain endless physical strength and never get tired. These 3 medicines are essentially the products of the Uranus formula divided into 3. And put them together, Uranus. Although they are separated separately, the side effects of each can be extremely large. But when the 3 are combined into one, the side effects can be offset by each other. Let its side effects become extremely small. This is the terrible thing about Uranus. If a person eats Uranus, he can gain dozens of times the potential, a body that is not fatigued, and a body that can heal his injuries in an instant. So it is no exaggeration to say that one person destroys a country. The most frightening thing is that this medicine can be mass-produced. Therefore, the world government must eliminate this period of history. Now this kind of medicine is firmly controlled by IM. The system, check the current progress value that can be obtained by killing them. Ron still looked calm on the surface, standing there looking at these 4 people. What are they calculating? Ron is naturally very clear. But Ron didn't intend to stop them either. Advertisement. Instead, he asked the system that he cared most. In the current state, if you kill 4 or 5 elders, you can get a total of 20% of the template progress. Is it only 20%? Ron's current template progress is 15.2%. Add this 20% to 35.2%. To be honest, it's still a bit less. In that case, let me see what Uranus is. Maybe it can make these guys worth a little bit more. HMPH, Ron doesn't know the seriousness of the matter yet, so he just let us use Uranus like that. Arrogance is often a precursor to a person's extinction, and he will regret her choice. Anyway, we must avenge the old 5. In the past 800 years, no one has dared to kill us 5 elders. Even if Sama comes, I won't let this guy named Ron go. The only 4 or 5 elders left, he took a pill from his arms. If you want to play the whole body in black and white, it looks very weird, with red bloodshot lines on it. The 4 or 5 elders looked at each other as if they had made up their minds. Then he threw it directly into his mouth without hesitation. Ron. It turned out to be medicine. Ron really didn't expect that the so-called Uranus turned out to be this kind of medicine. This surprised him a bit. What's the use of a small pill? Ron, don't let them take that medicine, that is Uranus. After eating, you can get dozens of times the strength, never tired body, strong recovery ability, don't let them eat it. Sengoku shouted at Ron. He didn't expect Yimu to agree to them to bring this medicine out. However, as soon as Sengoku finished speaking, the other party had already taken the medicine. It seemed to be for fear that Ron heard Sengoku's words and came over to interrupt them. After all, the speed Ron showed just now, if they come to interrupt him, they can't help it. But what they never expected was, Ron didn't come over at all, but looked at them happily. Directly watched them finish Uranus. Humph, it's too late now. Who wins and who loses can already be separated. The 4 or 5 elders have just finished speaking. Suddenly, the whole body swelled up. The body, which was originally taller, became more oppressive at this moment. I saw 4 of them. Binoculars are red. Hockey was flowing directly all over the body. Muscles skyrocketed. Advertisement even the thinnest 5 elders has become extremely strong at this moment. This state is far stronger than 10 times Whitebeard. Sure enough, ancient weapon. Whitebeard kept smashing lethal amounts of adrenaline, only to increase his strength tenfold. And the 4 or 5 elders in front of them, they only took a small pill, they had already gained several times the power of Whitebeard. The name of Uranus is indeed well deserved. The system, continue to check how many template progress they can provide me now. Host, kill them to provide 40% template progress for host. 40%? That's enough. Ron smiled calmly, then looked at them as if they were prey. Superior, after the 4 or 5 elders are strengthened, they are fast. In a few blinks, he was already in front of Ron. The look of the onlooker changed. Sengoku. So fast, they're much better than Whitebeard at the time. The 3 admirals said in unison. Is this the power of Uranus? No wonder 5 elders dare to do whatever they want. 5 elders, high, rushed to Ron first, punched him violently, and hit Ron's head directly. However, Ron reacted faster than him. Just stretched out his hand and grabbed 5 elders, high, arm, just at this moment. What? 5 elders, sword, suddenly appeared in front of him. One sword flow, dimensional cut. The first generation of ghosts suddenly came out of her sheath. He even cut down Ron's way of shopping directly. Blood is splashing. Ron looked at them and said lightly, 5 elders, sword, put the sword into its sheath, and sneered. 5 elders. 2 more. Even Whitebeard tried his best and could only cut Ron a bit of skin. However, he just finished speaking. This, without a road to buy, how to fight. What nonsense are you talking about? Haven't you been using your skills all the time? Haha, are you not as resistant as the legend? this is your first use of skills. It was discovered that from Ron's forehead, there were black stripes spreading downward. To know, Sengoku Garp also has 3. Admiral frowned. When, Zhao Li Zhao, everyone present took a breath. And this 5 Elders, sword, cut off Ron's arm directly. This was the first time Sengoku saw Ron and he was broken. Half of his face was covered with black lines. Chapter 153, auto-generated chapter title. 153. Can you connect with a broken arm? Ron turned demon, this is called transformation. No, Ron broke an arm. In this kind of battle, if one arm is missing, the combat effectiveness will be directly reduced. This sudden appearance directly caused all Marines to worry. This is the first time they have seen someone injured. Before that, no one thought that Ron would suffer such a serious injury. This is a broken arm, which is equivalent to cutting off half of the combat power. After 5 Elders ate Uranus, they became so strong. You know, at that time, Whitebeard only cut a bit of skin. He was able to chop off Ron's arm in one fell swoop. The Marine soldiers who were still yelling in excitement just now. At the moment, he closed his mouth immediately, holding my breath. All worried about Ron's safety. They are now standing in the same boat with Ron's, and both are hurt. And Ron is in their hearts, a Marine hero with high prestige. Naturally, he didn't want to see Ron lose, and they never thought Ron would lose. But the current situation forced them to calm down from the blood just now. After all, Ron is also human. After one day of battle, how can one kill 4 emperors in a row without getting tired? CP0 was killed just now. This kind of revolving battle is already exhausted by ordinary people. This series of victories even made Marine ignore that Ron is a human. Until this cut off Ron's arm. This made the Marine soldiers of 757 finally come back to their senses. Only when I remembered, Ron was also a human after all. Damn it. These 5 Elders are too mean, right? That's right, it's too despicable. They actually eat Uranus, and they even use ancient weapon after 4-1. It's shameless. 5 Elders are shameless people, and use this pervert taboo with more deception. These Marine soldiers stood firmly on Ron's side. Seeing such unfair treatment, he naturally began to swear. They only hate that their strength is too low to go up to help. Can only be secretly upset here. Sengoku and Garp frowned. They didn't expect 5 Elders to bring Uranus here today. It seems that the fellow Yim is determined to make Ron die here. They were already seriously injured and they were not 5 Elders' opponents. Now 5 Elders has eaten Uranus and the others have no way to intervene. Kizaru. Send, BEFC, Ron Admiral broken arm, I'm afraid it's not good. Advertisement to Kainu. Huh, later we went together and fought with these guys. Aokiji. After Ron Admiral died, these 5 fellow villagers will not let us go. Now Marine has become a thorn in the flesh and a thorn in his eyes. I think we should go together and share some pressure for Ron Admiral. Good too. 5 Elders listened to the Marine soldiers around in an incompetent rage. Don't care about it at all. As long as you can win. No matter what means is used. Victory is regardless of high or low. To survive and to kill the enemy is the only criterion. The other 5 Elders saw the 5 Elders' sword attack worked. And he directly chopped off an arm of Ron, who was known to be invulnerable. Basically now they have established a situation that they must win. But no matter how strong Ron was, he lost an arm at the moment, and his combat effectiveness was greatly reduced. Not to mention, since they have a way to chop off one arm, they can chop off 2, or even directly chop off Ron's head. Because they now understand very clearly, they who ate Uranus. The overall strength has completely constituted a fatal threat to Ron. Their attack could already hurt Ron. Before Whitebeard and Ron played against each other, they also saw it next to him. 10 times the Whitebeard is indeed very powerful, but compared to Ron, it is still a little bit worse, even Ron's skin can't be injured. But the bonus Uranus brought them, but it was enough to easily chop off Ron's arm. The gap is obvious, so, this battle ends here, except death. How can you, an ordinary human being, be our opponent to 5 Elders? As soon as we, the world government, show our whole cards. You guy is nothing. 5 Elders, sword, laughed. Read the palm of the hand tightly on the knife handle of the original ghost. Half bent. Ready to attack again, and this time the goal. It's Ron's other arm, 5 Elders, short, as expected, it's you. After so many years, the knife hasn't regressed. It's a beautiful job. 5 Elders, skinny. No matter how you say the boss is the strongest swordsman in the world before, the little kid in Eagle Eye is a fart in front of the boss. 5 Elders, sword. Nonsense, stop talking, don't leave a gap, and continue to attack. How does this kid feel something is wrong? Why do black markings appear on his body? Furthermore, the expression in his eyes became fierce, and Kaiser Shang changed and immediately attacked. I'll chop off his other arm first. Now, Ron's whole body was suspended in the air. Advertisement. A series of black lines began to spread downward from the left face. Until half of the body is covered, it even extends from the broken arm. And the arm that was chopped off, was sucked back directly. The black lines are like thin black lines, rejoin the arms together. It turned out to be intact. Even the traces that hadn't been chopped off never existed. This is such a weird scene. The audience was in an uproar, and there was no sound. The Marine soldier was still worried that Ron's loss of an arm would affect his combat effectiveness. When they saw this scene, they didn't know what to say, opened his mouth in astonishment and forgot to close it. This scene even stunned the 4-5 elders in front of them. Can this severed arm still be connected like this? What is this strange ability? No, this guy is really weird. Since I can connect the broken arm autonomously. Can't keep him. Although 5 elders, sword, didn't understand what was going on, the black lines must be weird. Now the attack must be launched immediately. 5 elders, sword, directly drew a knife, and used the same draw cut as before. The icy light of the knife flashed by. It was Ron's head facing him. However, he slashed with confidence. He abruptly grabbed his first-generation ghost in his hands. But now he was caught by a knife. 5 elders, sword, believed that this knife would surely chop off Ron's head. When he was about to touch Luo's head, suddenly, the palm of his hand, which was composed of a black mist, grabbed his full-strength knife. Get rid of Ron directly. 3 Admiral, Garp. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. 5 elders, sword. Unexpectedly, a stranger scene happened. This time he was going to seal his throat with a knife. With the confidence that Ron can just break the defense. 3 more. Sengoku. They hadn't been relieved from the shock that Ron's arm could catch. You know, just with this cut, Ron cut off one of his arms. Chapter 154. Auto-generated chapter title, 154. Marine. I am willing to follow Ron Admiral. 5 elders die. I'm not mistaken, right? Ron took his arm back by himself? Even Sengoku, who has always been knowledgeable, feels incredible. Garp nodded and said, trust me, you read it right. The old man also finds it incredible. The 4-5 elders are miserable now. They rarely hurt Ron but found it to be of no use. The heart that Sengoku and Garp had just mentioned was let go. The 3 Admiral who had planned to help also took a step back because they found that there was no place they could help. Ron could even connect his broken arm. Have you noticed that Ron Admiral's current state is a bit wrong? Why half of his body has turned black? It seems to be a black pattern. What kind of skill is this? And Ron Admiral has not used that kind of high-temperature flame from just now to now. On Marine's side, the whole heart is like riding a roller coaster. When Ron was chopped off his arm, his heart fell to the bottom, and now it is climbing again. You, 5 elders, sword, found that he was holding his knife in the opponent's hand, and it was as if it were being held down by an iron pin, unable to move it. This made him cold sweat. You know, now that you have eaten Uranus, your strength has increased by nearly 100 times. Even so, the knife he swiped can be caught by the opponent with his bare hands. How is this going? What are you 3 doing in a daze? Attack. 5 elders, sword, said grimly. At this moment the other 3 talents finally reacted. He immediately attacked Ron from a different angle. Ron's expression was still very calm. I took the sword of 5 elders, sword, directly. Wrap the hellfire in the first generation of Oni Toru. I have to say that this hellfire and the first generation of ghosts are quite suitable. I'll take your knife. 5 elders, sword, how can you drive the original ghost Toru? Impossible, this is the demon sword, why are you not being backlashed? However, I didn't wait for 5 elders, sword, to understand why the first generation Oni Toru, the strongest monster sword, could be used by Ron. All of a sudden, I just felt a flash of black light in front of my eyes. Shen Qianzhong. Ron waved the first generation ghost who was wrapped in hellfire, and had moved behind the 4-5 elders. Swipe. Countless hellfire slid directly across the bodies of the 4-5 elders. Ron didn't look back, put the knife into its sheath. Then he walked in the direction of Sengoku and others. Subsequently, the 4-5 elders behind him went directly into blood. Numerous wounds appeared on his body in an instant. A large amount of blood mist sprayed out. The 4 old guys are still flying in the air. It landed directly on the ground from midair, as if he had died. Just one move. Kill the 4-5 elders who had eaten Uranus directly. The whole audience was silent. Advertisement, none of them had reacted from the battle just now. Because it is so fast, they haven't seen what's going on yet. 5 elders who had eaten Uranus were already powerful to that extent. No matter how strong Ron is, he will have to play hundreds of rounds at least. This is the accepted idea in the minds of all Marine soldiers. They are ready to fight a protracted battle. No one thought of the ending in front of him. Ron even snatched the opponent's knife without seeing any movement. All 4 of the other party died at once. These are 4 people. The powerholders of the 4 highest authorities of the world government. The most powerful 5 elders in the entire world government. In front of Ron, he was killed by a spike. This is incredible, right? There was a full pause, until Ron walked in front of Sengoku and others. These Marine soldiers were relieved from the incredible scene just now. After a brief moment of silence, immediately, the audience burst into applause. With deafening cheers. Ron Admiral, he won. He killed 5 elders in a second. Is this terrifying strength only the explosion of this 1-meter-high body? Before, they were still worried that Ron's physical condition was getting weaker. But now they found it wrong. Ron didn't get weaker at all, instead he got stronger. Clean up the battlefield. Ron walked up to Sengoku and said lightly. What? Sengoku was still in a daze at the moment. It wasn't until Ron said these words that he woke up like a dream. When I looked carefully, I realized that there was no enemy on the battlefield. All arriving government personnel including 5 elders and CPO. All had fallen to the ground at this moment. The entire Marlin is numerous, although most of it has been destroyed, but fortunately there are not many casualties. Ron's sentence cleared the battlefield. This directly ended the war on top. No one thought of it, it was originally planned to be a battle to ambush Whitebeard. But it directly caused all the 4 emperors to die here. Not only that, but also 5 elders, after this battle. All marine soldiers present know this. Their marine is probably going to be independent. Will no longer be a running dog of the world government. And there will eventually be a big battle with the world government. But now no one is afraid of this anymore. Sengoku could see this from the cheers of the marine soldiers. Advertisement asked for flowers. Although it has been a day and a night, some marines are already very tired. But they still chanted Ron's name. Call Ron the marine hero. At this moment, Ron's prestige has reached an unparalleled height. At this moment, a round of tomorrow is gradually rising in the sky. The night is over. Dawn has arrived. The battle against 4 emperors and 5 elders lasted a whole day and night. Clean up quickly, there are still important things to do tomorrow. I'll go back and rest first, Ron just said lightly. It seems that going through this battle is just trivial to him. There are still big things to do tomorrow? The keen marine came to Ron's words all at once, implying other meanings. Excited again. Is there anything bigger than this one now? Oh, of course there is. All marine soldiers couldn't help but think of an extremely terrifying possibility. This makes them even more excited. Ron, things have reached this point, what are you going to do tomorrow? Sengoku watched Ron walk away from his back, asked immediately. From the moment they acted on 5 elders, it already meant that Marine broke with the world government. So, as the top leader of the world government, will Yim let it go? Will he allow someone to provoke his authority? No. He certainly won't, if Sengoku expected it to be good. Tomorrow, Yim will definitely summon the other 2 armies of the 3 armies to carry out a full-scale encirclement and suppression of Marine. You know, the violent organization under the world government is not just Marine. There are 2 other armies, plus the world government spy organization. The power held in Yim's hands is still very large now. Even surpassed the current size of Marine. Yimu will never let go of what Marine is doing now. Surely the final liquidation will be initiated. Otherwise, he is not worthy of being called the world ruler. Tomorrow, go to Marijoa and pull celestial dragons off the altar. Ron didn't look back, just waved his hand and said. As soon as this remark came out, the audience exploded. These marine soldiers were already extremely excited. Celestial dragon's reputation is terrible. Which marine soldier has not been P******** off by them? I've seen them upset for a long time. Hearing that Ron Admiral would take them to destroy celestial dragons, he shouted excitedly. I'm willing to follow Ron Admiral, make what he says, and go through fire and water. Chapter 155. Auto-generated chapter title, 155. In the final battle, Ron led his army to kill Marijoa, seeking subscription. The next day, early morning. This night, the whole marine couldn't sleep. They all waited for the next day. Ron Admiral led them to kill Marijoa. These marine soldiers entered a state of extreme excitement. It took one night to clear the entire battlefield. Although many Marlins have been severely damaged, these soldiers have built some necessary buildings temporarily. The whole process was all in order. Sengoku, who was originally in charge of the command, saw this scene, and it was a little weird. He had never seen the marine soldiers under him, as serious as he is now. Really, heroes are needed in any age. Any army also needs a hero. And Ron is now the hero of Marine. Now I am afraid that these marine soldiers will not listen to their own words. As long as Ron waved his hand, these guys would really dare to kill Ligioa with Ron. Sengoku couldn't help but look at the sky and sighed. Just one day, it seems that the whole world has changed. Things have moved in a direction beyond his control. Originally, Sengoku only intended to get rid of Whitebeard. And now, not only have all the 4 emperors been removed, but even 5 elders have been solved together. The scariest thing is, past the meaning of Ron's words just now, he will attack Marijoa tomorrow. When Sengoku heard this sentence, the heart beat slowly. He didn't know what to say, or how to communicate with Ron. In the current situation, it seems that one's own prevention can't do any good. At dawn, Sengoku was surprised to find out, in the middle of the many squares of Ma Lin that have been temporarily restored. A huge stone statue stands there. Sengoku doesn't remember that he gave this kind of order. These guys don't sleep all night, so what are they doing here? Sengoku, these marine soldiers spontaneously built a statue for Ron and placed it in the center of Marineford Square. Crane staff officer said, covering his forehead, it is really speechless. During the construction process, the Crane staff had to stop it. After all, it is also Marine headquarters. No matter what, you can't build a statue in the middle of this place. And it's also Army Admiral. It's just that no one paid attention to the dissuasion from the staff of Crane. Advertisement. These excited Marine soldiers. I won't listen to anyone's words. It took half a night to build a statue nearly 100 meters high in the middle of the square. There are so many people and great power. With the concerted efforts of so many Marine soldiers, this feat was really accomplished. The statue is lifelike. It's Ron, the crime of arrogance. I saw a sturdy man pointing at the sun holding the axe in the other hand. Hockey was incomparable. Oh, forget it. Just let them go, and Ron, after all, solved all the 4 emperors and changed the entire pirate world. He deserves this credit for building the statue and being praised by later generations. Sengoku nodded and said, regarding this credit, Sengoku can no longer measure it. Garp, I'm afraid your marine hero's name is about to change. The crane staff glanced at Garp, who had just woke up, and then at the marine soldier who was excited to fix the statue. Said to Garp. Garp didn't care. Ron, that guy is more qualified to be a marine's hero than me. After all, I can't kill 4 emperors at the same time. Staff Crane shook his head. Now, the 2 most powerful guys in marine have obviously accepted Ron's current position. Since Sengoku and Garp don't say anything, there is no need to care about it. After all, Ron is a real military exploit. At the same time, reporters from all over the world who heard the wind all arrived. There are many Marlins. Start shooting at this kind of statue. They just got the news today, and those who were bombarded by this series of news don't know what to say. Upon waking up, the 4 emperors all died. Upon waking up, Marine broke with the world government. Either one is explosive news, but all happened in one night. Even Morgans, the editor-in-chief of the World Economic News, was there in person. Everyone is waiting for the man to appear. 2 hours later, Ron stretched and came to the square. He didn't expect that there would be so many people in the entire square. It's only 8 o'clock. What are these people doing here? Taste. As soon as Ron appeared, the reporters took pictures of Ron. These marine soldiers who had waited all night cheered immediately when they saw Ron coming out. These guys really didn't sleep all night. This grand occasion was all recorded by reporters. Advertisement when Ron saw the huge statue. I couldn't help but feel a little shocked. These guys stayed up all night, just to make a statue for themselves? Really interested. Ron walked to the statue. Look at this huge stone statue nearly 100 meters away. What I did was really lifelike, exactly the same as before. Even the expressions portrayed are very lifelike. Ron came to the statue, to the reporters who were shooting crazy. Suddenly, pointing to the statue, Shen said, this statue represents me. Who would dare to invade Marlene in the future, dare to cross this statue, today's 4 emperors is their end. Ron is leaving the pirate world after all. But these marine soldiers are so cute, for the sake of them being so crazy and admiring themselves. Ron also didn't want the Battle of the Top War to happen again in the pirate world. It happened to be today that the reporters were all present. Tell the world right here. The whole marine. Ron was covered. Ron's haki spoke, not to mention the soldiers who have shouted long live Ron. Even the reporters got excited, start shooting frantically at Ron. This is big news. In this way, the side of haki must be photographed well. As soon as the voice came out, outrageous, Sengoku and Garp looked at each other. Once again, everyone around was excited. Assemble all the remaining troops. All acted one after another. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. What a daredevil. 5 more, today end, and at the moment. Yimu was holding the live phone bug, and angrily smashed the table in front of him. Unexpectedly, they would be shocked by Ron's haki speech. I want to see how rampant Ron can be. Get ready for the warship. If you are not afraid of death, come with me to Marijoa. Today it will be published in addition to spread this news to the world. Ron said lightly. The marine soldiers who had just built the statue also shouted the name of 5.2 Ron excitedly. Clear treason. Chapter 156, auto-generated chapter title. 156. Soldiers approached the city. Ron gave an order, and the whole army rebelled. Now, the General Office of the Armed Forces, after Kong hung up. The mind is heavy. He just received a call from Yi's mother. Ordered him to mobilize all the remaining people under him to come to Marijoa immediately. Kong has guessed that things are moving in this direction. It's just that he never expected it to be so fast. Almost a day later, the whole world has changed drastically. Yesterday, all this still seemed to be very harmonious. The balance between 4 emperors and marines still exists. Lord 5 Elders is still the ruler of this world. But never expected, only 1 day passed. The corner of the 4 emperors had collapsed, and listening to Yimu's tone just now, 5 elders seemed to be dead. Kong really hates his brain now. He obviously only slept all night. Why did the sky change in the morning? Kong immediately picked up the phone and dialed Sengoku's phone. Sengoku, what are you doing now? Kong asked. Sengoku knew that Kong would definitely call him. Ron is gathering troops now. What is he going to do? You should be able to know. Sengoku has nothing to hide. After all, in the identity of Kong, he must have received information on this matter. He is just confirming -14. This guy. Kong sighed. Then it seems to be thinking about whether or not to say it. After a while, this said, no matter what you are going to do, be mentally prepared in advance. IM just called me. He wants to mobilize all his troops and go to Marijoa. When you went there, they might have already been in ambush. Kong knew that this sentence actually violated his military's duty of confidentiality. But he still said it. Sengoku nodded. Obviously he had already expected it. If such a big thing happened, Yimu hadn't moved anything yet, that would be weird. I see. But at this point, Marine has no turning back. Sengoku sighed, looked at the back of Ron who had just stepped onto the warship, and said in a deep voice. Kong was silent for a moment, without speaking, then he continued. Excluding you Marine, now I only have 200,000 troops here. Among them, 100,000 are the army. Kong said this and sighed. He did not go on. Advertisement. After hanging up the phone, Sengoku, Garp and the three Admiral glanced at each other. After thinking about it, the final decision was to board the warship together. No matter where Marine is headed in the future, this historic scene, they will always have to witness. The reporters also squeezed onto the warship like death, begging for a long time before they got a chance to report. Soon, Ron took a full 60 warships. This is all the ships the Marine has left. He flew towards Marijoa mightily, 3 hours later. Right below the red line, 60 warships stopped here. How can I go up here? The dedicated ascending channel will definitely not work. At this time, the world government will not use the dedicated ascending channel to take us up. Marine soldier, trapped below, couldn't find a way for a while. When I was in despair, invoke the power of Marlene, the sin of gluttony. Ron just said to the system lightly, since the dual template was opened, if you want to mobilize other template capabilities, you won't consume so much progress value. Now Ron temporarily calls other templates and only needs to consume 0.01% of the progress value. It can be used for 1 hour. Soon, just when all Marine soldiers didn't know what to do, Ron snapped his fingers directly. In an instant, all the ships teleported to the red line. This almost miraculous method caused these Marine soldiers to fall into a carnival. Especially these reporters. Looks like he has never seen the world. Surprised, I don't know what language to use to describe it. Sengoku. This Ron, how can you do everything? Garp. The ability to transfer in this instant is comparable to Op Fruit. Now, in front of Marijoa, nearly 200,000 troops were all closely guarded on the red line and lined up in dense rows, with no sight at all. And behind it is Marijoa. Yimu's troop deployment speed is really fast. It looks like we are about to fall into a bitter battle again. The other party has twice as many people as ours. 3. Admiral sighed. Even reporters are ready to shoot this kind of epic, with less than more pictures. However, the next scene instantly silenced everyone present. I saw Ron floating gently in the air, then, said to the 200,000 army on the opposite side. All the army listened to the order and returned to the team. Just one sentence, advertisement let the people of Marine see what a real appeal is. Ron's prestige in the army is higher than that of Marine. A simple sentence instantly let the opponent enter 200,000 troops and directly split into two. More than 100,000 army soldiers lined up in a neat line. Give a loud shout. Yes, then he moved directly from the opponent's camp to his own camp. Originally, the opponent's force was twice that of Marine, but now Marine's force is twice that of the opponent. This sudden change. This allows the opposing soldier to turn his back on the call. It really opened the eyes of everyone present. Sengoku. Garp. 3. Admiral. I have always heard that Ron is very prestigious in the army. I can't think of an order to make the whole army rebel. The remaining forces are the government's guards and the external staff of the espionage agency. The combat effectiveness is extremely weak. They still relied on their number advantage and were full of confidence. At this 760 moment, the whole person collapsed at once. A look dumbfounded. The only advantage is gone. There are more than 200,000 people on the other side. Marine and Admiral are all there. What else is there to fight? Into the city. Ron just said softly, one sentence. The 200,000 soldiers rushed directly towards Marijoa. How can the remaining guards have the strength to resist? Destroyed with rotten general rout. Flee for escape, scattered for scattered. The resistance time does not even exceed 20 minutes. Just let Ron and others break in and rush to Marijoa. This is the residence of the entire Celestial Dragons. There is everything in it. It really is the most prosperous place in the world. Celestial Dragons at this moment, there is no longer the kind of superiority that was before. All were scared and hid in the corner. At first it was justified. After being educated by the soldiers brought by Ron, they all closed their mouths. Everyone listened to the order and immediately took over Marijoa and arrested these Celestial Dragons. Gave an order. Nearly 200,000 soldiers from the army and marine swarmed into the neighborhoods of Marijoa. Subsequently, Yim, come out. Ron looked at the castle at the highest point. Said very calmly. Chapter 157, Auto-generated chapter title. 157. The death of Yim, the opening of the Great Marine Era, please complete the order. Although the voice was not loud, he knew that Yim would definitely be able to hear it. None of these people present have seen Yimu. The only 5 elders who had seen Yim were also dead. It can be said that Yimu is the most mysterious person now. Major reporters are also prepared for the camera phone worm, ready to take this historic scene. Today, Yim's identity will be revealed. Boom, almost immediately when Ron's voice fell. The entire castle flew straight over. This is an exaggeration of the contract. This castle is quite big. He flew straight down from a high hill. Ready to hit everyone. It's really a good meeting ceremony. Do you have to send the room as soon as you come up? Ron flew forward with a stride. Gently stretch out one palm and point forward. Perfect cube. Moment. A purple cube appeared in the air, enclosing the entire castle in it. The castle, which was still aggressive just now, stopped in the air, surrounded by purple cubes, and then fell to the ground. It's really a strange ability. At this moment, a figure with a cloak flew over from a distance. Can't see the face clearly, but still can feel that this person's expression is very bad. It looks like you are Yim, so, you are the Ron. Both of them were suspended in midair. Yimu appeared. This is the first time these people around have seen the most mysterious person in this legend. All Marine, including Sengoku Garp, stared at the man in front of them intently. Is this guy the Dominator hiding behind 5 elders? Sengoku, have you seen him? I haven't seen him, let alone me, even Kong hasn't seen him. It's really mysterious. I really want to untie his cloak and see who he is. Open black lens bracket Yim, the 5 elements demon fruit power, the first successful person in the devil fruit immortal surgery, age 821, can increase the template progress by 30%. The system voice reached Ron's mind, worthy of being an 800-year-old monster. This is Ron's first opponent to increase the progress of the progress template by 30% at once. All 5 elders are packaged together for only 20%. According to the rule of less increasing later, the 30% that an Yimu can bring is enough to show the strength of this man. The 5 elements, devil fruit is really rare, Ron said coldly. Huh, you can see through my abilities. You are still the first person who knows my abilities in 800 years. It's worthy of being a guy who can disturb new worlds so much, he seems to have some ability. Yimu sneered. 5 elements devil fruit? What is this? Never heard of it at all. That's it, I didn't listen. The news suddenly broke out, leaving everyone present with a look of astonishment. As expected to be the most mysterious Yimu, even the devil fruit he ate was something that no one had ever heard of. It's too late to say, then it's fast. The 2 people didn't talk nonsense at all, and they also knew that as long as they solved all the other parties' affairs, they could end. Advertisement don't look at Ron's great momentum, but Yim only needs to solve Ron. The rest is his hand. Yimu knew this, as did the others present. The battle is on the verge. What opened everyone's eyes was that the gold, wood, water, fire and earth entwined all over Yimu's body were truly gorgeous. Bang bang bang. The first to attack, the water flow is always like a high-pressure water gun. All counterattack. When he arrived in front of Ron just swiped the knife slightly. This sky full of water arrows returned directly to the original path. Kindness? I am stunned. I didn't expect my attack to come back again. At the moment, directly use the raging fire to evaporate all the returning water arrows. At the same time, the hot flames sprayed directly at Ron. However, Ron did hold up a huge fireball with one hand. The merciless son Ron has completely inherited the ability of Ace Kano, even with the current crime of anger template can be used at will. I saw a blazing fire, instantly swallow Im's flames. And smashed towards Yimu. Sure enough, like intelligence, Yugai controls a special fire ability. Yim didn't intend to catch Ron's fireball forcibly. Because he can perceive this kind of temperature that is not particularly controllable. So immediately changed position in the air, planned to avoid the fireball. However, Ron shook his palm lightly, bursting arrogance. The fireball that flew past exploded instantly. Yim's face changed. The fiery flame covered the whole body at once, however. Wait until the flame dissipates. I am intact, walked out of the middle. No wonder. You can kill 4 emperors and 5 elders. With your strength, they're indeed not your opponents. Yimu said coldly. Neither are you. Ron had a very calm expression, but he said such provocative words. Yimu's face went dark. Really overconfident, Yim landed directly on the red line. I saw him pat his hands directly at the red line. The fruit of the 5 elements can control the power of soil. Suddenly, the entire red line directly began to deform. A huge red clay giant appeared in an instant. I saw that this giant was covered with armament hockey all over his body. Even bigger than the previous Douglas bullet. The clay giant, facing Ron's direction, began to smash it violently. It's really troublesome, don't hurt my lovely subordinates. Ron said with a heavy expression. Subsequently, advertisement. Demonized directly, hit the clay giant with a punch. The huge fist contrasted sharply with Ron's small fist. However, what makes everyone unexpected is, this huge fist broke directly. Then it spread to the entire red earth giant, and it collapsed all at once. Ron, who was demonized, was extremely fast. The next moment he has appeared in front of Yim. Yimu's expression changed. Use the ability immediately. 2 long knives appeared in his hands instantly. This is the metallic ability that the 5 elements fruit has transformed into. This long knife is no less than the supreme sharp knife. He slashed at Ron, and the power is indeed huge. Just this cut, he chopped off Ron's arm directly. However, what Yim didn't expect was, Ron's broken arm was able to move freely after it got out of his body. I saw the broken arm stretched out directly and lifted his neck. Raised I am. This, Yim watched the broken arm lifting himself. And Ron was walking slowly from a distance, when I walked in front of him. Automatically connected with his body, Ron just held Yim with one hand. Yimu never thought that he would lose so quickly. This is too exaggerated, right? And Yim. Ron looked at Yim and said lightly. Wang Zhao's, you? Yimu felt a wave of death in his heart. Just wanted to talk. Ron directly used force. Countless reporters filmed this classic scene. He was already dead under Ron. Ron's legend is still flying in the sea. Ended Yimu's life directly, so many years later. 2 more, next more, Naruto World. it's too much beyond him at this moment. There was an uproar in the audience. If it were before that, the battle would actually be fought for a while. Never expected. But after Ron killed 5 elders, the template directly increased by 20%. When each new sailor arrives at Marine, he must pay a military salute in front of Ron's statue. It only took less than 2 minutes to fight. At this moment, the audience was silent. This man standing on top of the world, this man whom 5 elders must worship. His abilities skyrocketed. Chapter 158, Auto-generated chapter title. 158. 9 tails attack the village. Ron all counterattack bounce the tail beast Jade, must see. The current template progress is 60.6%. Does the speed choose to leave the pirate world and go to the Naruto world? Of course, host can choose to come back at any time. It seems that the template progress has reached a bottleneck. I can no longer continue to improve here. Choose to enter the Naruto world. Ron said lightly. At this moment, he was still holding 5 elders first generation ghosts. Loading Naruto world. The time of entry was when Kyuubi attacked the village of Konoha. Close black lens bracket. At this moment, the marine soldiers below are still cheering. They cheered for Ron's victory over Yim. He was about to listen to Ron's next order. After all, now the entire marine merchant, their marine is already the only one. It is time to declare true independence. All the marine soldiers were waiting for Ron to speak. All the reporters pointed at Ron with videophones. Everyone was waiting for Ron to announce that this was enough to go down in history. Announcing the arrival of New World. However, what everyone did not expect is N's figure slowly faded in midair. It just disappeared out of thin air. Ron, in everyone's eyes, was gone. This man killed all the 4 emperors, killed 5 elders, overthrew the world government, and killed Yimu in one day. It should have been to the top of the world under the glory of great glory. However, at this critical moment, Ron disappeared. For a while, the audience was in an uproar. In an instant the whole world was caught in various discussions. Many years later, there are still people talking about this day. 760 now, when Ron's figure appeared again, he was already in another world. It's still a dark night here, outside the village. Is falling into chaos. Countless Shangren, shuttled back and forth, full of dignity. At first glance, there was an attack from a major enemy. Now is the time when their Konoha village is alive and dead. Ron was too familiar with the surrounding buildings. This is the Konoha village. Sure enough, he had arrived the night that Kyuubi attacked Konoha village. If Ron remembers well, in a while, the 4th generation of Hokage and Shinkuna will die here. This can be said to be the beginning of the entire Hokage. It was also the moment when Kyuubi was sealed in Naruto's body. From this day on, the entire Naruto world began to fall into chaos. In a few years, the Uchiha clan will be annihilated. Ron had never understood this battle of genocide. Since I came here this time, just take a good look at how this big filial son Uchiha Itachi operates. Ron was really curious. What kind of brain circuit can I think of killing all my family members to stop the village civil war? Just as Ron looked around, suddenly, a teenager wearing a mask fell next to Ron. It is the young Kakashi. Advertisement, this kid, it's dangerous here, where's your home? I'll send you back. Kakashi looked at Ron and said, Kid? Ron was taken aback. He didn't even react for a while. I took a look at my current height. Cannot help but sighed. It seems that the long group is indeed too childlike. Can be misunderstood by Kakashi who is not much taller than himself. However, Ron just came into this world, how can there be a home? Even Ron used the system to check how much template progress can be increased by killing Kakashi. How could Kakashi at this moment not think of it? The child in front of him is right now, is it worth it to kill him? Host, currently killing Kakashi does not increase the template progress. In Naruto world, if you want to increase the template progress, you must kill those who have murderous intentions on the host. That's it, that's all. Ron was going to let Kakashi go. Kakashi came with a task. When he saw the child, he ignored him. He still said some strange words, deciding whether to perform the task first. Then he pointed in one direction and said to Ron, if you walk towards him, there will be a guard to protect you. Kakashi finished speaking and left, almost at the same time. On a mountain wall in the distance, a huge red-tailed beast was suddenly released. The mysterious masked man, Uchiha brought soil, used the Shiluyan to control the tail beast. At the same time, he looked in the direction of Konoha village. Go and make a big fuss, just go and collect interest first. The masked man pointed in Konoha's direction and said. Ron didn't understand the guy who indirectly killed his master and his mother. It has to be said that the human brain circuits of the Uchiha clan are relatively strange. The tail beast that had just been released was very excited. He had been sealed in Shinkuna for many years, and he had already hated Konoha village. Of course I am happy to be released this time and get revenge on Konoha village. Kyuubi jumped and came directly to the side of the village. It's the tail dancing wildly in the wind. In front of this huge body, the surrounding ninjas looked like ants. The whole scene fell into chaos all at once. No one cared about Ron anymore. As various ninjas, all flocked to them, begin to attack the Mantissa. What's more, facing the tail beast shuriken, he almost didn't, BEFC, make Ron laugh to death. And every time the tail beast swings its claws, it can take away many ninjas. Now, the third generation ninja also arrived. Sarutobi Hizen also looked in Ron's direction. Can't help but frown. Who is this guy? Why haven't I seen him in the village? Sandai said in a deep voice to the man beside him. However, by the time the subordinate was about to look in Ron's direction, Ron had disappeared. Now, the system has given the progress of the template for Kyuubi. Fully 5%. This is a huge number, how could Ron let it go? At the same time, Kyuubi is accumulating power in the air. Just as he was about to face the village, he was about to send a tail beast Jade. Advertisement after the fourth generation of Hokage settled down everything. Used the technique of Flying Thunder God, came to the battlefield in an instant. However, when he discovered that there was a child with the same yellow hair standing in front of him, he couldn't help but be a little taken aback. Who are you? Looking at you like this, is it a shinobi? The danger here is not something you can come by. This is a battle that only shinobu can participate in. Quickly leave here. Kyuubi is about to launch the tail beast cannon. If this one continues, the whole village will be gone. The fourth generation of Hokage said to Ron, he is going to use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the tail beast cannon here. And Ron blocked him here, so he had to take care of Ron's safety and couldn't use Thunder God in time. Just when the four generations were about to send Ron away, the nine-tailed beast Jade has been launched, a crimson ball. It's huge, which contains the majestic chakra. After this incident, half of the Konoha village plenum was moved to a flat ground. So strong, oops, it's too late, four generations of eyes immediately sealed. At the same time, he was preparing to keep Ron behind. But at this moment he found that Ron had disappeared. What about ninja? I was still here just now, why did it disappear so soon? No one can disappear in front of the four-generation ninja who is known for his speed. But at this moment Bo-Feng Shuiman didn't notice when Ron had disappeared. And the tail beast Jade has arrived in front of him. Such a huge chakra. Very oppressive. Many ninjas around him closed their eyes subconsciously. However, when the times were ready to use the Flying Thunder God to transfer the tail beast Jade, suddenly found that the yellow-haired child was standing in front of him, holding a long sword in hand. Ron certainly didn't want to save the storm, nor was it just this village. To be honest, the survival of Konoha has nothing to do with him. The life and death of Bo-Feng Shuiman didn't make much sense to him. Ron did this to test his full counterattack. Is the chakra attack on this world effective? If it is effective, it means that all the ninjutsu in this world will not work for him. Hurry up. Bo-Feng Shuiman frowned. Isn't this looking for death? Faced with such a big tail beast Jade. Who the hell is this kid? However, something he never expected. Ron unexpectedly swung the sword directly at the tail beast Jade. All counterattack. When it touched the tail beast Jade. 4 generations of regret. This tail beast Jade containing a huge chakra was directly bounced back by this young man. Boom. Kyuubi was also blinded. The tail beast Jade rushed towards him at an extremely fast speed. It hit Juwei directly. Suddenly, the entire surrounding mountains were razed to the ground. A violent explosion. The whole earth trembles for a few minutes. Kyuubi was submerged in this thick explosion. Uchiha Belt Soil. Bofeng Watergate. Sarutobi. Chapter 159. Auto-generated chapter title. 159. Publicly expose the identity of the masked man. You just bring dirt, don't pretend. 9 tails were beaten up. It never thought that one day it would be hit by its own tail beast Jade. When the smoke cleared, only then did Kyuubi staggered to stand up from the ground. Looked fiercely Ron's direction. Who are you? How did you do it just now? The 4th generation of Naruto Wave Feng Shui men said incredibly. Ron was in front of him just now, and no one could see clearly than him. This guy really bounced the tail beast Jade back intact. What kind of ninjutsu is this? Is it blood succession boundary? In the 4th generation of Hokage, a child who didn't know where he appeared was curious. And Ron, looking at the tail beast Jade being ejected, can't help but shook his head. It seems that ninjutsu attacks are also judged as magical attacks. His full counterattack is effective. This is just great. In this world dominated by ninjutsu, there will be no ninjutsu capable of acting on its own. At this moment, Ron heard the 4 generations of Bo-Feng Shuiman talking behind him. Ron suddenly didn't know how to describe his identity. You can't tell them that you are Army Admiral, right? Even if they said it, they didn't believe it. Is it Ron? Okay, I remember you. You wait here first, I will solve the trouble, and then I will come back to you. The 4 generations have a hunch that this person named Ron is very important. Try to keep him in the village, but he must now give priority to solving the 9 tails. Then, immediately use the marked kunai to teleport. Send Naruto and Shinkuna to a suburb. He is going to seal the 9 tails here. These 9 tails are worth 5%, how could you seal him? Ron shook his head. Although the teleportation of the 4th generation is faster than Ron in speed. But Ron still chased after him. At this time, the 3rd generation of Hokage stopped there. He could clearly see the scene just now. Although it is far away, other people may not be able to see clearly, thinking it was the 4th generation that blocked the tail beast Jade back. But the 3rd generation of Naruto is a master of ninjutsu after all, and his strength is much stronger than those around him. He noticed all Ron's movements. Ron blocked the tail beast Jade so easily. But this had to make Sandaimu suspicious. although Ron's current position on the surface should be on Konoha's side. But this kind of people of unknown origin, 3 generations can't rest assured. You go to check now, in Konoha village, besides Bofang Watergate, are there any other yellow-haired people? Especially children? 3 generations immediately called their cronies and ordered. Ron's reality is too weird, this had to make the 3 generations suspicious. When the Mantissa suddenly attacked Konoha, a mysterious boy suddenly appeared. Are these 2 things related? Regardless of whether the yellow-haired boy is on Konoha's side, he must be investigated closely. If it is really a spy sent by the enemy, then you must find a way to kill him. Advertisement, and if it is a power that can be fought for, then he must be left in Konoha and brainwashed by the will of fire for him. Let him completely become Konoha's person. 3 generations frowned, and had already made such wishful thinking behind them. He didn't mean to go up and help the 4th generation to solve Kyuubi together. When Ron chased 9 Tails, only then found out. The 4th generation and the Masked Man have already fought. This is a wonderful time and space ninjutsu showdown. Both are people in the master space. Now, Heifeng Mizumon just cut the connection between the Masked Man and Kyuubi. Directly caused the 9 Tails to go out of control. If you guessed correctly, you are Uchiha Madara. This unexpected space ninjutsu, coupled with this extremely powerful, is enough to control the tail beast's riding wheel eyes. Such a powerful person. Heifeng Mizumon can only think of one, and that is Uchiha Madara. The Masked Man sneered. Looks like you guessed it. Unexpectedly, your strength is also good. Since you can cut off Kyuubi's connection, you can even attack me. However, this is only the first step for Uchiha Madara's revenge. Uchiha took the soil there and pretended to be forced. The second breath is bursting. It looks like the whole world owes me. Pretending to be Uchiha Madara in front of his teacher. Ron didn't want to get involved in this matter. His goal now is to kill 9 Tails. But just passing by here, I saw Wave Zone soil in the middle of the second pretense. Constantly recite his painful literature. It looks like people all over the world owe him. Ron dismantled the stage without hesitation. This guy is Uchiha with soil. After Ron finished speaking, he turned and left, and continued to chase 9 Tails. Masked Man. Bofang Watergate. You're bringing soil. You are not dead, so why do you want to do this? Bofeng Shuiman was stunned. Uchiha took soil and looked at Ron. Can't help but frown. It is not suitable to stay here for a long time. The yellow-haired man actually knew his true identity, and he was able to block the tail beast Jade. Today's unfavorable assignment, you must leave here immediately. First find out who this yellow-haired boy is and where it came from. Then choose the opportunity to attack Konoha. Think of it here. Take soil and use space ninjutsu directly and disappear here. Hash. The appearance of Bofeng Shui changed. Just wanted to catch up. But now Kyuubi is attacking Konoha. Bofeng Shuiman can only grit his teeth, ready to solve the problem of Kyuubi first. As for whether this guy is bringing dirt, just ask the yellow-haired boy well in a moment. Since he can say the name of Daitu, it is certainly not easy. What is his identity? Why did he appear in Konoha? Why did he know that he brought soil? At this moment, Watergate also has many questions in his mind. And Ron had already arrived in front of 9 Tails. 9 Tails are energy bodies. Want to kill 9 Tails. Advertisement obviously, there is some slowness in using the ability of the group leader. After all, the ability of the Long is basically a physical attack. Ask for flowers. So Ron is ready to make a quick decision. Directly switch the form of the crime of arrogance, use high temperature to quickly drop him in seconds. Although it is possible to use the power of the sin of arrogance with the current template, it feels almost meaningless. It is more oppressive to use the template without the sin of arrogance. And Ron didn't intend to come to this world to be too eye-catching. Since I was going to kill Kyuubi in such a public place. Then let's change the image, switch to the crime of arrogance template. Ron directly became the appearance of the crime of arrogance. The body of the original child has now become extraordinarily strong. Turn on the sun in your heart, use the state of solitary domination. After switching to the sin of arrogance template, Ron opened the 2 states directly. At this moment, flames are burning all over the body. Chiguo was on her upper body. The extremely strong body is particularly dazzling in the Naruto world. Respond to me, Rita. Ron jumped into the air and held out his hand. The golden axe appeared in his hand instantly. Almost all at the same time, a fierce flame began to wrap around the axe. Stain half of the sky red, instantly attracted the eyes of everyone around him. All Konoha high-rise buildings including the 3rd generation. Who is this guy? Where did this come from? Kyuubi, who had just gotten rid of the shackles, became a free body, just about to speak harshly to this yellow-haired kid. Suddenly, it was discovered that the other party had changed their appearance directly. From a child to a middle-aged man with an extremely strong figure. And it's very oppressive. Kyuubi thought that after getting rid of control this time, he would be safe and sound. Unexpectedly, there was such a big trouble in front of me. This kind of pressure even made Kyuubi feel a chill in his back. He felt more oppressed than Uchiha Madara, and the hot light from the axe made him feel the threat of death. You must know that their tail beast is an energy body life. As soon as he rushed over, he was miserable. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. For so many years, Kyuubi has not felt the threat of being close to death. And the fourth generation of eyes on the side had just rushed over through Fei Lei Shen at this moment. Even if it is death, it can be reborn from somewhere in the world within a certain period of time. 4 more pills, so, asked. Who is this muscular man in front of him? Where did the yellow-haired kid named Ron just now go? Why did so many strangers come to Konoha village all night? Except for the method of sealing, there is no other way to make them die. Obviously watching him come in this direction. Who are you? Who is this guy? Even a little skeptical of life. Nine Tails' complexion change, the 4th generation of Hokage has been blinded. Chapter 160. Auto-generated chapter title, 160. Switch the crime of arrogance, this is called Huo Tong, barbecue 9 Tails. What a dazzling light, it's so hot, what is that? Is that Huoshi? What are you kidding? Whose fire escapes can reach this temperature? I feel the heat wave coming so far away. Even the fire escape of our Uchiha clan can't be so hot, even surpassing Amaterasu. All the ninjas who rushed didn't dare to come closer. Looking at this extremely strong man from a distance, holding an axe, he looked like a god in the sky. And the Kyuubi on the opposite side, even the footsteps are constantly shrinking. He was scared. Everyone present could tell that Kyuubi was scared. This Konoha was a good thing, but Sandaime frowned. Quickly, check it out for me again. Who is this guy? Why is it this color of hair again? Go and find out what is the relationship between this person and the yellow-haired kid who appeared before. 3rd generation orders to Auntie beside him, and the 4th generation of Hokage wave Fengshuiman now can't describe his current mood. The mysterious kid who appeared just now, he didn't feel how powerful the other party was. And the 760 can play Flying Tail Beast Jade, presumably because of the blood inheritance limit. Therefore, the 4th generation of Naruto did not take him to heart, but felt that the kid had hidden a lot of secrets, and he was plastic. If possible, I would like to recruit him into Konoha's ninja school. But the man in front of him, otherwise, the 4th generation of Hokage clearly felt the oppression from the opponent. This suffocating feeling, that kind of powerful incomparable feeling. The enemies encountered by the 4 generations of Hokage in her life have never brought such a strong sense of oppression to her. This man is too strong, powerful like the sun. Who is he? Why stand up and help Konoha against Kyuubi? What is his relationship with the yellow-haired kid just now? Kyuubi is really panicked, he never expected that he had just escaped from the bondage. I thought I could finally run towards a vast and free world. Be a happy and carefree wild-tail beast that destroys at will. But never expected, just came out, just met such a monster. This guy felt even stronger to himself than Uchiha Madara's sense of oppression. Now, there was only one thought in Kyuubi's mind. Is it possible to get him back into Jushin Nai's body? He didn't want to come out, he doesn't want freedom either. Compared with freedom or anything, life safety comes first. I knew I had stayed in Jushinai's body honestly, it turns out that the outside world is so dangerous. Who are you? We have no grudges, why do we treat me this way? Do you want to catch me as a helper? Okay, Julama, I agree. Facing this kind of oppression that could take his life at any time. Kyuubi directly admitted it, isn't it the human pillar power? Who is it for? Advertisement anyway, people who catch themselves in this world are all trying to help themselves as human beings. It might as well be the person in front of you, it's better than being killed by the opponent. Those who know the current affairs are handsome. Kyuubi suddenly understood this truth. So he didn't care about being ashamed, and said the most fearful words in an extremely bold tone. This immediately caused the surrounding ninjas to drop their jaws. The 4th generation of Hokage. I read it right, did Kyuubi admit it? 3 generations of Hokage. I have lived so long, this is the first time I have seen a tail beast to recognize it. Other ninjas. This man, just by relying on this sense of oppression, has already made Kyuubi scared. How do you feel that he is better than the first adult? I don't need such a weak human strength, and I am not very accustomed to putting a small animal on my body. Ron said lightly, still expressionless. 9 Tails panicked. This guy wasn't actually trying to catch himself as a pillar of strength. Why? This is his greatest value as a tail beast. But I didn't expect that the man in front of him was not for this. 9 Llama asked unwillingly, then why are you? Ron said lightly, to kill you, isn't it obvious? In a word, let the 9 llamas blow their hair directly. This is stark contempt, don't put him in the eye. The man in front of him was extremely arrogant. In this case, do I really think I am a bully? Today, let you see the true power of the tail beast. Since the other party does not intend to give himself a way out. The 9 llamas directly revealed their nature, prepared to kill the opponent directly. So the 9 llamas opened their blood and spouted directly. Another larger tail beast Jade gradually formed above it. Countless chakras have been continuously compressed. Not good. This tail beast Jade is stronger, retreat quickly, I will stop him. The 4th generation of Hokage wave Feng Shui Gate immediately blocked the front of Konoha village. He wasn't sure whether the strong man in front of him could block the tail beast Jade. If you can't stop it, behind him is the entire Konoha village. This tail beast Jade is several times larger than the one just now. If you hit the village so directly, none of the people inside would survive. The entire Konoha village will be destroyed as flat land. And he had never transferred such a big tail beast Jade. Bo Feng Shuiman didn't know if he could stop it. This time, Kyuubi used all his strength. A huge tail beast jade was sprayed directly in the direction of Ron. And the man in front of him didn't hide at all. This couldn't help making Kyuubi smile. I won't kill you now. Almost all ninjas are staring in this direction. If this man can't catch the tail beast jade, then he can only rely on the 4 generations of flying thunder god. But this tail beast jade is really too big. If it can't be transferred for 4 generations, then their village will be over. Why is he standing there still? Did he give up? Is this waiting for death? Advertisement. Numerous ninjas began to mumble, however. At this time, Ron stretched out a hand suddenly and touched the tail beast jade. Fight back and die. This trick can make all the magic power that attacked oneself disappear. The same goes for chakra. I saw this big tail beast jade touch Ron's palm at the moment. It just disappeared out of thin air. There is no sign. Did not cause any waves. It just disappeared out of thin air. A breeze passed. Nine Tails stood there blankly. He really hated it. Where's your own tail beast jade? The tail beast jade that could destroy a large mountain hit Ron on him, without any feedback? How many sounds do you have? What kind of ninjutsu is this? The ninjas around were also surprised. The 4 generations were all ready to launch the Thunder God art, and suddenly found out that extremely powerful tail beast jade collapsed like this. There are too many strange facts that happened today. First, the yellow-haired child bounced the tail beast jade back with a sword. Immediately afterwards, this brawny man with orange hair touched the tail beast jade, and the tail beast jade disappeared out of thin air. When will there be so many powerhouses in this world? However, this is not over yet. What surprised his family more was that I saw a hot light burst out of Ron's axe, and a huge fireball gradually formed on it. Even the size is bigger than the tail beast jade just now. Moreover, the temperature erupting from the core distorted the space. Then, it's me next. Ron directly threw the hot sun in his hand. The merciless sun, seeing that it was not good, Kyuubi turned around and prepared to escape. But the speed of his escape is 5.2 degrees, how can the hot sun be faster? Almost in an instant, the entire Nine Tails were directly covered by the hot sunlight. There was a snapping barbecue sound. Nine Tails' code is constantly being eroded. Even chakras all over the place of use cannot prevent the intrusion of heat. Nine Tails are not stupid either. If the flames continue to burn, he will finish playing sooner or later. So when Kyuubi found out that there was a huge lake under his feet, immediately had an idea. Dive directly into the lake. He doesn't believe in so many lakes, can he still extinguish the flame? However, at this moment Ron seemed to have expected it all. I saw a slight scratch in his palm, bursting arrogance. Suddenly, the Nine Tails who had just sunk into the bottom of the lake. There was a sudden explosion. The fireball surrounding him exploded directly at the bottom of the lake. Chapter 161. Auto-generated chapter title. 161. Beating Kyuubi violently. 3 generations prevent Ron from killing Kyuubi? Seeking subscription? When Kyuubi escaped into the bottom of the lake, everyone thought that Kyuubi could rely on this method to extinguish the flames on his body. After all, the 5 elements restrain each other, and water restrains fire. The whole body is thrown into the bottom of the lake, so the flame on the body will definitely be extinguished. Even the 3rd and 4th generations who were present thought so. All ninjas are ready, and if Kyuubi rushes out again, he is ready to respond at any time. They never expected it. At this moment, this man in midair. Jing Ran squeezed his fist slightly, he couldn't hear what he said. But when his fist was lightly squeezed, the entire bottom of the lake exploded directly. It exploded completely. They had never seen such a big explosion. We must know that the area of the entire lake is even several times larger than that of their Konoha village. This lake has existed here for many years, now, with a huge explosion sound wave. There was also hot steam on the surface of the shop. This caused all the ninjas present to turn around. 14 Even so, some ninjas who were close were scalded by the hot water vapor. The violent shaking made the earth tremble for a minute. There was even a scream from Nine Tails with a hard-cracked lung. The heat wave caused by the explosion lasted a full minute. When the sky is full of smoke after it has dispersed, all the talents turned their eyes back. At the same time, they also saw the most terrifying scene of their life. The lake that has existed outside their Konoha village for hundreds of years. At this moment, there is no more water left, only a huge hole was left. Prove that there once existed lakes here. Under the huge cavity, Kyuubi was dying. Lying on the ground, his whole body was covered with terrible burns. To know, Nine Tails are energy creatures. Would it be bombed like this? Moreover, Kyuubi's vitality is quite tenacious, and his terrible resilience can make him instantly recover from any injury. But at the moment, Nine Tails looked dying. Lie there. Obviously it's over. 4 generations. Advertisement. He had never seen such a powerful fire escape. All the water in the lake was evaporated to dryness in an instant. Who on earth can do this? Who the hell is this man? Is he an enemy or a friend to Konoha? And the 3 generations on the side frowned at this moment, watching this scene in disbelief. This guy has surpassed the first adult, and it doesn't seem to be his full blow. Who is he? The existence of such a character is really terrifying and must be investigated carefully. Sandame looked at the lake water that had evaporated. Could not help but shook his head. What a terrible temperature. Ron slowly fell from the air. step by step towards the dying Nine Tails. The 5% of the template progress was accepted. Kyuubi looked at the man walking towards him with extremely horrified eyes. The feeling of death being shrouded in my heart, let him have a fear that he has not had in hundreds of years. In contrast, those who Uchiha Madara controlled him at the time felt like pediatrics. And Kyuubi knew that once he was killed by this man, he would never be able to rebirth, he would really be dead. Kyuubi was not reconciled yet, even if he was seriously injured lying on the ground. Still opened his mouth. A huge chakra aggregate gradually formed in the mouth. Even if it was dead, he would launch another tail beast jade. He didn't believe it and couldn't bring any scars to the opponent. This time Kyuubi almost used up all the chakras left. An unprecedented giant tail beast jade jet out directly. The entire ground has even been plowed into a huge ravine. The earth trembled. The tail beast jade is extremely fast. Almost in the blink of an eye, he was already in front of Ron. Kyuubi stared at Ron coldly. Even if I die, you will have to pay a price. The ninjas around, even if they were far away, could feel the oppressive feeling brought by the tail beast jade. Worthy of being the strongest tail beast. In front of such a big tail beast jade, these ninjas seemed insignificant. It's like an ant that can be crushed to death at any time. He didn't even have the strength to resist, and Ron looked at the tail beast jade getting closer and closer. Still expressionless, did not even stop the pace of advancement. When the tail beast jade appeared in front of him, advertisement Ron just held the magic axe Rita easily. The backhand lightly slashed towards the tail beast jade. Boom. A tail beast jade even bigger than a hill. The moment it collided with Ron's axe, it exploded. In the violent explosion, Ron's figure came out slowly. Even the pace of walking has not changed, this great tail beast jade. It was smashed by Ron's axe, and under this kind of explosion, the other party has nothing to do. What kind of fairy operation is this? The audience is stunned. Ron walked up to Kyuubi and directly raised the axe. Pointed at Kyuubi's head, Kyuubi's horrified face. Reflected in the eyes of every ninja. No, this man really wants to kill Kyuubi. At this moment, the third and fourth generations were shocked at the same time. When Kyuubi attacked the village just now, although their goal was to kill Kyuubi. But now it's different. There is no threat to Kyuubi, 760. So the best thing to do now is to reseal Kyuubi. Because the tail beast is an indispensable force for the village. It is also a kind of power check and balance between a large village. Wherever a strong village is, there must be a strong tail beast as a human pillar force. The support of the people in Konoha village is Kyuubi. If Ron really kills the Nine Tails, then they will lose a powerful human pillar, which will reduce their deterrence to other villages a lot. Never let Ron kill this tail beast. The third and fourth generations looked at each other. On this issue, the two of them have exactly the same views. Then, the third generation of Naruto and the fourth generation of Naruto immediately appeared in front of Ron. Blocked between Ron and the tail beast, the third generation of Hokage took the lead to speak. Wait a moment. Since the tail beast has been defeated, let's leave it to Konoha village to deal with it. I don't know the name of your surname Gao. We, Konoha village, will definitely remember this kindness. Three generations said in a hypocritical tone, he is really good at drawing pie. I wanted to use this vain kindness to replace Kyuubi from Ron's hands. In any case, it is a transaction that makes a profit without losing money. Chapter 162, Auto-generated chapter title, 162. Kill three generations. Ron alone is the enemy of Konoha. Looking at the shameless faces of the three generations, Ron almost didn't laugh. What are you kidding? I defeated Kyuubi, why should I leave it to you? Ron said blankly. This sentence directly put the three generations back. Sure enough, this guy doesn't have the will to fire in his heart, so it's not easy to deceive. Three generations frowned and said in a deep voice. In any case, the Nine Tails are the property of our Chemo village. Since he has no threats anymore, then we, Konoha village, will take him away. Please raise your hands high. Three generations of righteous words. It was as if Ron was stealing from them. I'm here preparing to come back. What? It's very interesting. How can you be sure that Nine Tails belong to your Konoha village? Is there any evidence to prove it? Three generations did not expect to meet such a tricky guy. However, due to the strength of the opponent, three generations did not immediately get angry. Instead, he said coldly, this is very simple. Nine-tailed dynasties have been sealed in the body of Renjuli in our village of Konoha. So you should be kept by our Konoha village. This is something that all villages have no objection to. Ron was amused by his words. Shensheng said, so you mean to take Kyuubi away from me, right? Three generations frowned, nodded, and said, correct. This is Konoha's tail beast. Besides, he is seriously injured now, so he can't pose any threat to Konoha. You don't have to kill him. Ron looked down at Hokage 3. Who told you? I severely injured him just to save your wood industry. I never said that before. After listening to the three generations, the old face went black. This is where I have always been puzzled. Why would I stand up and help Konoha deal with Kyuubi? Ron said lightly, this is very simple. My purpose is to kill Kyuubi. That's all, so, if you want to take Kyuubi from me, you have to exchange it for an equivalent item. The eyes of the three generations changed. Frowning, said in a deep voice. Advertisement, what is the equivalent? Ron said lightly. You or his life. Ron glanced at Hokage 3, then at Hokage IV, and then said. 1. After listening to the 3 generations, they frowned and said angrily. What do you mean? The 4th generation of Naruto wave feng shuimen also said in an angry tone. So, you are not Konoha's friend, but Konoha's enemy. But in fact, Shao Juju had already started in the hearts of the 3 generations at this moment. In exchange for the life of 4 generations, he actually doesn't mind. But if you use your own life to change it, it is absolutely impossible. System, as long as I kill people who are hostile to me, can the template increase the progress? Ron suddenly noticed a problem. Just when I got here, the system told him, only by killing those who are hostile to him, can the template enter and increase. But people in this world don't know anything about him, so how can they be hostile? So Ron figured it out a bit. There is no hostility, you can create hostility. I can create hatred for them and make them hostile to themselves. Yes, as long as the host kills the hostile person, it will increase the template progress. The stronger the person killed, the more template progress will be added, but the daily limit is 20%. There is even an upper limit. Never mind. When Ron thought about this, his eyes changed when he looked at everyone. In this case, let's start with this shameless 3rd generation. This guy is not a good person. The eyes of the 3 generations have changed. When he saw Ron's eyes looking at him change, I couldn't help but remember Ron's words. If you want to leave the life of the 9 tails, you have to change one of them. The old face of 3 generations went black. The man in front of him won't want to change with his own life, right? It's okay to be generous with others, but once you let yourself give up your life, 3 generations don't do it. You, what are you doing? Sandaimu frowned and said in a deep voice. I changed my mind. Decide to kill you first, Ron said lightly. Are you crazy? I'm the 3rd generation of Konoha village? If you kill me, it means declaring war on the entire Konoha village. Do you think about it? This is Konoha's place. 3 generations threatened Ron with Konoha. Ron smiled faintly. What he wants is this effect. Advertisement and under the witness of the entire Konoha village ninja, kill this 3rd generation of Hokage. The eyes of the 3rd generation changed. She felt that Ron was not joking, what he said was true. This guy really wants to kill himself. What brain circuit is this? He obviously just came to stop him from killing 9 tails, why did he suddenly want to kill himself? 3 generations regretted it a little. I knew it, but I'll pretend to be a force. Now is not the time to hesitate. The opponent's power actually suppressed no Kyuubi. Cannot tolerate 3 generations of carelessness. Psychic, Ape Demon. The 3 generations immediately made the seal with both hands. The Ape Demon Psychic came out. When the Monkey Demon appeared in his hands, it immediately turned into a huge stick. Wand is like a golden hoop. This made Ron even more unhappy. Just do you have a golden hoop? Ron's footsteps suddenly speeded up. Quickly rushed towards the 3rd generation of Hokage. The 4 generations on the side only reacted to the sudden change of the fighter plane. The 9 tails that had just been solved were not actually the main trouble. The real trouble came. Of course, the 4th generation of Hokage couldn't let Ron kill the 3rd generation in front of him. Immediately rushed to stop, being self-reliant. Ron grabbed the axe directly and slashed at the 4th generation of Hokage. The reaction speed of the 4th generation of Naruto is very fast. Immediately avoid using Flying Thunder God, Ron frowned. It seems that if you don't unlock Ma Lin's power, it is still very troublesome to deal with the 4 generations of ninjas. Forget it, kill 3 generations of Hokage first. The current template progress of Crimes of Wrath has reached 60.6%. Fill up the Sin of Anger template first. The ninjas around suddenly saw that the hero who had killed 9 tails and saved Konoha had attacked the 3rd and 4th generations. This guy is the enemy. Go over and support the 3rd and 4th generations. Be sure to catch him. Whether it was from the Uchiha family or the Hyuga clan, all these ninjas surrounded them. Inside and out surrounded Ron. These ninjas around gave 3 generations a great confidence to change. This is Konoha village. It is bound to make him come back and forth. Now, you should regret showing hostility to me, Sandame said coldly. Chapter 163. Auto-generated chapter title, 163. This is ninjutsu? It's fancy and can't stand a blow? Although you subdued the 9 tails, but judging from your attitude, you are the enemy of our entire Konoha village. I'm really sorry, we can't give up and leave here. 3 generations frowned and said. At this moment, a considerable part of the Dark Men's department has surrounded them. Turn Ron around. This also gave the 3 generations great confidence. In the eyes of the 3 generations, Ron and the man who caused the Kyuubi rebellion should be in the same group. They are all Konoha's enemies. In this case, it must be removed. Pratinum, it's up to you and me to cooperate this time. Be sure to keep this guy here. Bofeng Shuiman nodded. Look at the man in front of him, played 12 points of energy. This is the strongest enemy he has ever encountered. Better than anyone. This made Bofeng Shuiman had to cheer up. The system, currently, will killing these people increase the template progress? In order to detect that everyone around is hostile to the host, the 3rd generation of Hokage can increase the template by 5% into the 40 and increase the template progress by 6%. These dark parts can add up to 1% of the template excess. The system is very considerate and automatically calculates the progress value for Ron this time. All. Does it add up to 12%? Not bad. Coupled with the 5% template progress that Kyuubi can bring, this time the harvest is very good. 763. Ron nodded. Fourth Dame. What is this guy whispering? Sandame. Take advantage of this opportunity to launch an attack. 3 generations of eyes immediately sealed, worthy of being a person known as a doctor of ninjutsu. In an instant, all 5 chakras ninjutsu were used. I saw the hands of Hokage Sandame quickly Ji-in. At this speed, you can even see the afterimage of the hand. It's too fast. Fengtong. A big breakthrough. Water done. Water Dragon Bomb. Huotong. Flame. Wong-tong. Mudslide. Laden. Razor. 5 types of ninjutsu, all 3 generations were released in less than 5 seconds. It is enough to show that the speed of his Ji-in is fast. And these 5 types of ninjutsu cooperate with each other. Wong-tong restrained Ron's feet. Shui Dun Lei Dun Huotong is responsible for attacking from 3 directions. The role of the air duct is to help the fire. Advertisement. Under the stalemate, the flame becomes larger. It's worthy of being a 3rd generation master who can use 5 kinds of chakras proficiently. No one can survive with the final ninjutsu of the 3 barrage lords. In this world, there are very few people who can use the 5 attributes of chakra. The opening of the 3 generations of Hokage has shown good strength. BEFC, in an instant, the confidence of Konoha's dark parts soared. The flame bombs at this moment, carrying the scorching heat, rushed towards Ron overwhelmingly. Ron looked at the quagmire that bound his feet, could not help but shook his head. It's really strange, but the flame is too small, right? Ron raised a finger directly. Suddenly, a fiery ball of fire condensed on the finger. The merciless sun. This temperature is higher than the opponent's flame bomb. I don't know how high it is. Facing each other, the 3 types of ninjutsu rushed towards Ron. Ron just gently pointed his hand forward. The sun in his hand rushed towards the opponent immediately. In midair, he directly confronted the 3 types of ninjutsu of the 3 generations of Hokage Feng Huo Lei. These 3 types of ninjutsu are like mud cows entering the sea. When he touched Ron's big fireball, he was directly swallowed by the fireball and disappeared into smoke. How is this possible? Master the Third's ninjutsu was completely endured by him in a train. And why doesn't he use Ji-in? I've seen this trick before. Just now he defeated Kyuubi with this trick. Some of the Aunties were new reinforcements, and they didn't even see how Ron had killed the Kyuubi just now. These people were still amazed before, the 5 chakra ninjutsu of the 3 generations of adults. Unexpectedly, he would be returned by the man in front of him all at once. The expression of the 3 generations change. Why didn't this guy use ninjutsu? This time, he is across from Ron. So it was clear that Ron had used this huge fireball just now, and there was no seal at all. Obviously it is also Huo Dun. Why doesn't he use Ji-in? The 3rd generation head was completely blinded. The other party can directly use such a powerful ninjutsu by just sticking out a finger. There is no link printing action. Even if it is the 1st generation, at least you need to put your hands together before you can start ninjutsu. And the man in front of him just stretched out a finger, and he could activate the communication directly. 3 generations froze there. 4 generations of Mubo Fengshuimen saw the situation not so good. Ron's ninjutsu, he has seen it. This was the trick just now, which directly drove the 9 tails into the bottom of the sea, and then caused a violent explosion. Even the entire lake evaporates to dryness. The terrifying ability of this fire escape has shocked all 4 generations. Advertisement. One thing is certain, that is, don't be touched by this huge fireball, or you will die. As a result, the 4 generations of the same old techniques were repeated. First, he teleported in front of Sandame with Fei Lei Shen ninjutsu. Then immediately use Flying Thunder God. A space seal is formed in front of the whole body. Fiery fireball, touching the imprint of Flying Thunder God next to the 4th generation, it was directly swallowed into the space. When the fireball reappeared, it was already on a deep mountain far away. The 4th generation of Megami Fengshuimen directly transferred Ron's son with the God of Thunder. Only then did Sandame let out a sigh of relief. If Bo Fengshuimen hadn't blocked this move for him just now, then he would definitely die. Start now. 3 generations dare not care. Ron's ninjutsu was actually superior to him. The most frightening thing is that he doesn't even need Ji-in. He didn't have any advantage in the release of ninjutsu. Master 3, let me solve his fireball. You are responsible for the attack. 4 generations of Megami Fengshuimen frowned, but said confidently. With his speed, coupled with the characteristics of Flying Thunder God, it can be guaranteed that Ron won't be able to send a single fireball. In this way, the opponent's most powerful attack is gone. The advantage is me. Well, as long as you can contain her, that troublesome fireball, then we will win. Sarutobi Hizen frowned and said, he cooperates with the 4 generations, one is responsible for attack and the other is responsible for defense. There is absolutely no problem. Then, with 4 generations here, his fireball can't play a role. Then, Ron's image suddenly changed from a strong uncle to a blonde boy. Oh, it's you. 3 more, it's you? Could not help but shook his head. Are you the boy who flew the tail beast Jade? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The 4th generation of Flying Thunder God is indeed very troublesome, and his speed is extremely fast. There is no way to stop him for the first time. Third generation eyes were also taken aback and said in a deep voice. The 4 generations could not help but pale in shock. Obviously, the crime of arrogance won't give you much advantage. Ron decisively chose to use the leader's ability. The guy on the other side seemed to have the only way of attacking that fiery fireball. Ron looked at the 2 men confidently, switched to the Sins of Anger template. This young man is the same person as this brawny man. Chapter 164. Auto-generated chapter title, 164. The Seal of the Ghoul? Ron is deified and scared to cry death, seeking subscription? Ron doesn't have an artifact yet, so I can only make do with the original ghosts snatched from 5 elders. I saw Ron slowly withdraw the demon knife, then look at the 3rd and 4th generations. Said with a smile. Let's continue. Yuan Fei and Rizan looked at each other. All frowned. They winked at each other and whispered to each other with gestures dedicated to ninjas. Then the 2 attacked from the left and the right. Pass. The art of fire dragon bombs. Now the original Sunslash on the left took the lead in attacking, his hands quickly sealed, and a huge fireball struck again. Being self-reliant, Ron shook his head, then took the knife in his hand and gave it a light wave. All counterattack. The moment it touched the fireball, the entire fireball immediately returned to the original path, and its power became several times greater than before. The complexion of the 3 generations of Hokage changed. As predicted, he just made this move to verify Ron's attack method. Sure enough, Ron didn't use another fireball to suppress him. In other words, Ron uses different forms, and his abilities are different. And the best ability of this form is to return the attack to the original path. This can be seen before when he dealt with the 9-tailed beast Jade. The reason why the 3rd generation still used this fireball to attack Ron was to verify this. Since Ron can't use that huge fireball to counterattack, then everything is easy to say. After all, the heating temperature that even Kyuubi can burn to death is not something that a human being can bear. This is also the skill that the 3 generations worry about Ron the most. Seeing his own fireball bounce back again, the 3 generations did not rush, and directly printed with both hands quickly. Wong Tong. Tuliubi. Suddenly, a huge earth wall appeared in front of him. Boom. There was a violent explosion. Sparks flew everywhere and smoke filled. The fire dragon bomb was blocked by Tuliubi, at the same time. The dirt wall also blocked Ron's sight. This is also one of the 3 generation plans. He wants to use this effort, perform clone interference. At the moment when the Tuliu wall rose, the 3 generations immediately started the avatar technique. Then 3 directions from top to left, instantly jumped out from behind the earth flow wall. 3 generations, this is to control Ron from 3 different directions. This time he was going to seal Ron with a ghoul seal. The 3 generations are still very high in combat talent. This set of small combos works well, at the same time. The 4th generation has attacked in another direction. With these 3 people alone, it is absolutely impossible to meet Ron. So the 2 used gestures to discuss tactics long ago. Advertisement they have treated Ron as the most powerful opponent in their lives. So, in order to ensure that these 3 avatars can meet Ron. At this time, 4 generations of attacks are needed. Seeing a bitter face at Ron's forehead, he shot it over. It was the shuriken that was thrown out by the 4 generations and engraved with the mark of Flying Thunder God. Ron flashed back slightly, tilt his head slightly. Just avoided this shuriken, however, this has been expected in the 4th generation. His purpose of throwing this shuriken was to throw the mark of Flying Thunder God next to Ron. Flying Thunder God 2nd stage, next moment. Bofeng Watergate immediately appeared at the shuriken position. The spiral pill in the other hand had already hit Ron's back. Before this set of tricks, I also used Uchiha with soil. And it worked. This time he intends to repeat the same trick. It's worthy of being the 3rd and 4th generations of adults. It's really a pleasure to watch them fight. Only top-level shadow ninjas like them can fight so gorgeously. Moreover, the cooperation of the 2 shadow class adults is quite tacit, it's almost like a person. This is such a gorgeous battle. Instantly applauded the surrounding Auntie ninjas. I also taught them a good lesson. Sure enough, everything was as they expected, and Ron didn't have time to escape at all. The 4 generation combo is too fast. Helix Maru hit Ron directly. But they thought it was Ron who couldn't avoid it. In fact, Ron didn't bother to avoid it at all. Mystery Revenge. Counterattack. With this trick, Ron can eat all the damage from the attack to his own skills, and all counterattack back at any time. Boom. There was a violent explosion. Even the 4 generations never thought that his Helix Maru would hit Ron. How is this going? Couldn't this guy bounce the attack back? Why didn't he bounce back this time? Couldn't he rebound the spiral pill? There are many thoughts in the minds of the 4 generations. But looking at Ron, it was discovered that although the effect of his own attack was great, the other party did not suffer any serious harm at all. The clothes were slightly torn. The sharp 4 generations did not stay here long. Immediately use Flying Thunder God to jump away, because his goal has been achieved. Just to attract Ron's attention, the real attack is in the 3rd generation. At this moment, the 3 clones of the 3 generations were already very close to Ron. For flowers, it only takes a blink of an eye to get to Ron's side. At this time, one of the clones quickly sealed the seal directly in the air. Advertisement Wong Tong. Mudslides. In an instant, the ground under Ron's feet became muddy. The whole person began to sink. This trick restricted Ron's actions. Immediately afterwards, the other two clones, one on the left and the other, grabbed Ron's arm. Subsequently, the clone of Jian just now landed on the ground. Directly began to receive the seal of the Ghoul Seal. Has Hai Wei, Zishi Wu has put your hands together. Without hesitation, very fast, the battle of the three generations is very decisive. Suddenly, a huge image of the god of death appeared behind three generations. I saw a long knife dangling from the death god's mouth. Looking coldly, he stretched out his two hands to grab Ron's soul. Three generations saw that their ninjutsu has taken shape. Cannot help showing a sneer. Once the Ghoul Seal is used, as long as you don't eat your soul, you won't go back. Ron must be over. This is the end of your confrontation with me, Konoha village. Three generations said coldly. What, is this the legendary god of death? I don't know what it will be like when he sees the real demon god. Ron said lightly. What do you mean? The third generation of Hokage frowned, and now, Ron has no fear at all. Isn't he scared, or does he don't know how powerful this ninjutsu is? However, just between the doubts of the third and fourth generations. Suddenly found out. The Grim Reaper stretched out his hand to Ron's soul, but suddenly stopped there. And at the moment, a jet black line began to spread downward on Ron's forehead. It directly covers half of the body. Ron's eyes became cold. Devil form. What a strong sense of oppression, so cold eyes. Three generations and four generations could not help being shocked. They can feel Ron at this moment, full of weird breath. As if from the depths of hell, and the god of death who can take all souls. He didn't even dare to move forward. Are you a man or a ghost? Three generations only felt a cold sweat, which flowed from the forehead. It seemed that the god of death was the god of death in front of him at this moment. Chapter 165. Auto-generated chapter title, 165. The two hidden bosses of Naruto world. When three generations bound Ron, everyone thought this battle was over. Even the four generations think so. After all, the Ghoul Seal, but directly summons the god of death to harvest the soul. No one can resist the power of death. This is the terrible thing about this ninjutsu. But what everyone didn't expect was, the Grim Reaper's hand stopped unexpectedly. He should have grabbed Ron's soul, but at the moment. But froze there, and the cold expression of the god of death also changed. It's not like the previous feeling of ignoring all creatures. Instead, there is some fear. Three generations of adults retreat quickly. With years of combat experience, the four generations of Bofeng Shuimen have felt that something is wrong. Ron's state is too weird. A large number of black markings appeared all over the body. 763 is like a curse seal. Although the four generations can speculate what kind of curse seal this is, but it is obvious that since the appearance of this kind of curse seal, Ron's body strength has been continuously increasing. Generation is an extremely cautious combatant. If it is not the best time, he will not make a move. And in danger, the first reaction should be to stay away from here immediately and then look for opportunities to attack. The three represents a change of sentiment. After hearing Bofeng Shuimen's proposal, he immediately reacted. It turns out that among these three clones, one of them is the ontology. The one that officially grabbed Ron's left shoulder. At this moment, he directly released Ron's shoulder without hesitation and jumped back. Almost at the same time, Ron waved his long knife horizontally. The other two clones were wiped out in an instant. Three generations of Chong sighed with relief. If it weren't for the early reminder of the four generations, he would have been divided into two after this cut. The ninjutsu banned by ghouls has not actually been lifted, and the god of death is still floating in the air. He will not go back without devouring his soul. The fourth generation sees that the third generation has left Ron's attack range. Only then can I relax my mind. Death was confronting Ron in front of him. Four generations seized the opportunity, prepared to take advantage of this time to launch a sneak attack on Ron. And when he attacked Ron's back with Helix Pill just now, he also slapped the mark of Thunder God on Ron. Advertisement: this shows Bofeng Shuimen's fighting talent. Each ring of attacks is accompanied by another ring of attacks. Every attack is a foreshadowing for the next attack. He completely played the Flying Thunder God ninjutsu to ultimate. At this moment, Ron was engrossed in the god of death facing him. It was the best time for him to use the Thunder God to teleport behind Ron and launch an attack. Bofeng Watergate condenses directly in the hand, a spiral pill. Subsequently, directly launch Flying Thunder God, wanting to teleport to the mark that is marked behind. Just as he was about to give Ron a hard blow with confidence. Suddenly found out, he didn't teleport behind Ron, but moved on the spot without moving. Four generations of old faces turned black. What happened? Fei Lei Shen's mark is missing. How is it possible? I clearly marked it behind Ron just now. And it has been confirmed that the mark is on him. Why has the mark disappeared? This is the first time Bofeng Shuimen has encountered this situation. Before this, he had never encountered such a weird situation. Your own mark of Flying Thunder God will never disappear. As long as you mark it, it will always exist. But this time, obviously it was just marked 2 seconds ago. Why is it missing now? Four generations. What are you in a daze? Sarutobi Hazaki looked at the four generations of Heifeng Shuimen in a puzzled way and said, didn't this guy say he was going to attack? Why didn't he stop there? The mark of Flying Thunder God I put on him is gone. This guy's ability is a bit weird, it should be some special blood inheritance limit. I felt something was wrong before. Why does the spiral pill disappear when hitting him? Fei Lei Shen's mark also disappeared. Now I judge that his ability should be to absorb ninjutsu. Plus the rejection of ninjutsu. This should be his special ability to absorb and reject. As a ninja, intelligence is very important. You can find out the intelligence of your opponent during the battle. This played a decisive role in the outcome of the battle. After listening to the analysis of the 4th generation, the 3rd generation also nodded. What you said makes sense, and now it can be roughly judged that it not only has an excellent fire escape, it also has special abilities that can absorb and reject ninjutsu. It's tricky now. 3 generations couldn't help but frowned. The 4 generations thought for a while and then continued. His weakness should be close combat. Advertisement. When I threw it over a kunai before, he dodged it. This shows that he can't absorb physical attacks. We can deal with him in close combat. 4 generations are worthy of fighting geniuses. Almost every detail of the battle can be noticed by him and used. The 3rd generation nodded upon hearing this. Since ninjutsu is useless, then the 2 of us will use physique to subdue him. Come on, ape demon. The 3 generations called out suddenly. The monkey demon next to him turned into a huge golden cudgel again, held in the hands of 3 generations. Now that it has been judged that Ron is immune to ninjutsu, he can only use physique to defeat him now. And according to the analysis of the 4th generation, Ron should be weak in physical skills. And at the moment, Ron was facing this huge god of death. System. How much template progress can be increased by killing Reaper? Reaper is a special hidden character in Naruto world. It cannot be killed by physical attack, unless host opens the template of the crime of gluttony. There are 2 hidden characters in Naruto world, one is the god of death and the other is the evil god. Killing any of them can forcefully increase the template progress by 40%. The system did not give Ron how to kill them, but still telling Ron to kill them will bring the template progress. This not only made Ron feel a little surprised. From the beginning to the present, Ron has never seen anything that can provide 40% template entry. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. One more, Ron's expression suddenly became serious. I saw Ron rushing directly at the death god. He didn't even think that a human dared to rush towards him. Ron really didn't believe it. In this way, in the world of Naruto, the evil god does exist. And the death god and Cthulhu in front of them have become the 2 hidden figures in Naruto world. It just never showed up. With this action, even the expression of Grim Reaper, which has always been colder, couldn't help but change. Reaper, can't you really kill it? This reminded Ron of the flying segment. It is said that his 5.2 power of immortality was bestowed by evil gods. Sure enough, it's different from a small country. Fei Duan is a believer in Cthulhu. It seems that the entire Naruto world is not as simple as imagined. As for the legendary evil god, the ninja is just an ordinary little character here.